Chapter 313. This broken ancient tablet doesn't have a specific name, and we don't know where it came from. Our company's most experienced appraiser can only deduce that this object is extremely old, from the desolate era tens of thousands of years ago. Although the spirit chi contained in this object has already been completely lost, there seems to be some kind of desolate era text engraved on it. If there is someone here who could decipher the origin of these desolate era texts, perhaps you can discover a trace of research value. This broken ancient tablet starting price is 5,000 low-grade primordial stones, and each increment must not be less than 1,000. Her jade-like hand lightly pointed to the broken ancient tablet and said indifferently. Although she could not tell what use this broken ancient tablet had, as a merchant she was shrewd. Since she had already taken it out for auction, the price would naturally not be too low. However, in order to avoid losing it, the World Merchant Guild did not dare to set a high price for this seemingly useless broken ancient tablet. They only casually set a price of 5,000 low-grade primordial stones and did not care how much it could be sold in the end. If they could hook a noob or a big fish, it would naturally be better. Just as Nicole's voice fell, the reaction of the crowd was not out of her expectations. It was actually a dead silence, and it was obvious that they were not interested in this broken ancient tablet. After all, everyone present was a martial artist and not a fool. They did not know the origin of this broken ancient tablet in front of them, and had also lost the unique spiritual chi of a spiritual treasure. To put it nicely, it was at most an ancient antique. To put it bluntly, it was a completely useless piece of trash. Even if the starting price of this broken ancient tablet was only 5,000 low-grade primordial stones, a piece of trash was still a piece of trash, and there were not many warriors present who were willing to spend this money. At the same time, on the other side, this thing, looking at the broken ancient tablet below, Fei Ren's face was slightly surprised, and his mind suddenly shivered. He did not see the use or mystery of this broken ancient tablet. Instead, it was the refining immortal cauldron in his dantian that gave off a slight movement, as if it was attracted by this broken ancient tablet. At this moment, waves of heat gushed out and entered Fei Ren's meridians, as if he was electrocuted. This broken ancient tablet can actually cause a reaction from the refining immortal cauldron. Suddenly, a shocking thought appeared in his mind. In the next moment, Fei Ren's expression also turned serious, and his heart was incomparably shocked. Ever since he obtained the immortal refining cauldron, it had already fused with his dantian. Unless he deliberately activated it, under normal circumstances, the immortal refining cauldron would not have any reaction, nor would it resonate like today. Ever since Fei Ren stepped onto the path of martial arts, he had experienced countless life and death battles. Moreover, he had also discovered that every item that could resonate with the immortal refining cauldron was definitely not an ordinary item in the end. Thus, it could be seen that the damaged ancient tablet before them was absolutely not what everyone thought. It was merely a useless antique from the ancient times. It was very likely that it was a treasure from the primordial era. However, most treasures would more or less have a trace of spirit chi remaining, but the broken ancient tablet in front of him had completely lost its spirit chi, making it seem somewhat unusual. Brother Fei Ren, are you interested in this broken ancient tablet? But this thing has lost so much of its spirit chi that it can't even be considered a first-grade spirit treasure. At this moment, Fei Ren's expression and reaction also fell into the eyes of Lin Shuai. From his point of view, this broken ancient tablet was indeed useless. Not only had it lost all its spirit chi, but the words engraved on it were from the primordial era tens of thousands of years ago. Ordinary martial artists would not be able to understand it at all. The only value it had was that it was an ancient antique. I keep feeling that this thing is a little familiar, but I have to buy it to know the specifics. Faced with Lin Shuai's doubts, Fei Ren did not tell him the truth. Instead, he casually made up an excuse and said, "Brother Lin, I might need to borrow some money from you." After all, the immortal refining cauldron was the #1 treasure in the universe. Naturally, he would not reveal the secret of the immortal refining cauldron. Moreover, he did not lie to Lin Shuai. As for the specific use of this broken ancient tablet, he would only know after he obtained it. It's a small matter. Although buying those 5th grade pills and the rainbow golden armor cost me a lot of money, I still have 70 to 80,000 low-grade primordial stones on me. There is no competition right now. Brother Fei, if you want this broken ancient tablet, I can lend it all to you. Hearing this, Lin Shuai was very generous as he opened his mouth and laughed. I don't need so much. 20 to 30,000 should be enough. Nodding his head, Fei Ren immediately shouted out his price. I bid 10,000. As his voice fell, the originally silent crowd burst into an uproar. Soon after, discussions broke out everywhere. Damn, there really is a fool? He actually spent 10,000 low-grade primordial stones to buy this broken thing. He must have lost his mind. Something strange. Could it be that this guy wants to buy it and collect it as an antique? Among the crowd, a portion of people raised their heads to look at the private room on the 2nd floor where Fei Ren was. Although they could not see the exact situation inside, they were all very surprised. I bid 11,000. Although most of the martial artists were puzzled by Fei Ren's actions, in the next moment, a bid rang out from the crowd. It seemed that he wanted to try his luck. Moreover, the bid was not much, only 1,000 low-grade primordial stones. 15,000. His expression was calm. Seeing that someone had increased the price, Fei Ren merely tapped his finger on the table and opened his mouth again. Regardless of the mysteries of this broken ancient tablet, since it was able to resonate with the refining Immortal Cauldron, he must buy it. Even if he had to lose 10,000 low-grade primordial stones, it did not matter. This was originally a bet. If he gambled correctly, Fei Ren would make a killing. This junior's brain is not very good. Furthermore, he is not from the 3 great clans. Looks like this old man has overestimated him. No matter what, everything will belong to this old man in the end. At the corner of the venue, seeing that Fei Ren had increased the price once again, Old Man Baigu's eyes were filled with malice. Soon after, he sneered in his heart. It was as if the current Fei Ren was a living example of a fool. Very quickly, when the price of this broken ancient tablet rose to 15,000, the bidders in the venue were completely silent. Evidently, they did not intend to waste their money. Fei Ren had also successfully obtained this broken ancient tablet. The amount of money he had spent was still acceptable. It was only 15,000 low-grade primordial stones. As for the money he owed Lin Shuai, he would be able to return it very quickly once his mental energy had a breakthrough and he became a Tier 3 alchemist. After all, alchemists were the richest profession in the Xinxing continent. As long as one lacked money, one could refine pills and sell them. As for the cost of medicinal ingredients, it was not a problem. As for the necessary monster cores to refine pills, Fei Ren only needed to hunt some magical beast to obtain them. I have finally obtained it. It is indeed a text from the primordial era. Not long after, a staff member of the Tianxia Chamber of Commerce delivered the broken ancient tablet. Fei Ren's palm was gently caressing this broken ancient tablet. His expression was solemn. Although it was very old, the words engraved on it were incomparably clear. Isn't this no wonder? I was wondering why the Tianxia Chamber of Commerce would have this thing. Moreover, it is said to be from the primordial era. So it is an ancient object from there. Brother Fei, I feel that you might have been tricked to one side. Lin Shuai was stunned for a moment when he saw the broken ancient tablet in Fei Ren's hand. Soon after, he smiled bitterly. His expression was somewhat helpless, as if he had already seen through some things. Chapter 314. Oh, what makes you say that, Brother Lin? Seeing Lin Shuai's reaction, Fei Ren asked curiously. Lin Shuai seemed to know something. If I'm not mistaken, the desolate ancient words on this should be the ancient words of the Desert Dynasty from 10,000 years ago. The spirit chi inside this broken ancient tablet has been depleted, which further confirms my speculation. This relic came from the Kader Desert and was buried deep underground, never to see the light of day for 10,000 years, Lin Shuai said slowly. As the young master of the Lin family, one of the three major families in Black Rock City, he was familiar with the Katter Desert. After all, the Lin family and the tribes in the desert had always traded with each other. Moreover, there were some ancient legends in the Katter Desert that had been passed down for many years. Lin Shuai also knew a lot about this. It was rumored that tens of thousands of years ago, before the great Ming dynasty and the Yi family rose, it was a powerful tribe that ruled the Katter Desert and the surrounding areas. This tribe had a large population and martial arts were popular. There were about 10 million tribesmen, and they once ruled half of the southeastern region. They were even more powerful than the great Ming dynasty. Because this powerful tribe originated from the Katter Desert, it was also called the Desert Tribe by the warriors of the past. This desert tribe that ruled the entire Katter Desert, as well as most of the southeast region, had another name in the world of warriors, Desert Dynasty. Desert Dynasty? You're saying that this broken ancient tablet is the relic of the Desert Dynasty that disappeared 10,000 years ago? A few minutes later, after listening to Lin Shuai's explanation, Fei knew a thing or two about the ancient desert empire from 10,000 years ago and knew some of the ins and outs of the story. If he wasn't mistaken, the broken ancient tablet in his hand should have been obtained by the people of the World Chamber of Commerce from some tribesmen in the Katter Desert. Although this item was indeed an ancient relic of the Desert Dynasty, it didn't have much use. Just like what Lin Shuai had said, he might have spent a lot of money to buy an antique. Yes, the Desert Dynasty was an ancient existence from 10,000 years ago. At that time, it even ruled half of the southeastern region. It was much more powerful than the great Ming dynasty and the Yi family. It was comparable to a third-grade force. What's more, this item is engraved with desolate ancient characters. These characters were only used by the Desert Dynasty back then. However, things have changed with the passage of time. The Desert Empire no longer exists, and this desolate ancient language has naturally been lost. There shouldn't be many people in Black Rock City who can recognize it. Coincidentally, I've been researching the Desert Empire from 10,000 years ago. That's why I feel that it's somewhat familiar. Nodding his head, Lin Shuai sighed deeply. Obviously, the Desert Dynasty he mentioned was an extremely powerful existence. After all, this Desert Dynasty was comparable to a third-grade force in the continent at its peak. It was more than 10 times more powerful than the current Yi clan, the ruler of the great Ming dynasty. They could not be compared at all. Forget it. It's only 10,000 low-grade primordial stones. It doesn't matter. Fei Rin said indifferently as he put the broken ancient tablet back into his spirit ring. At this moment, Fei Rin was free and easy. Although it was just as Lin Shuai had said, the broken stone tablet in his hand was useless. He still believed in the immortal refining cauldron. Since this stone tablet was able to resonate with the immortal refining cauldron, there must be some mysteries behind it. After the Black Rock auction ended, Fei Rin naturally wanted to find out more about this broken ancient tablet. Soon, the auction was coming to an end. The final item of the Black Rock auction was finally revealed. It was a top-notch defensive spiritual treasure. Ancient Cloud Pattern Dragon Armor. This spiritual treasure is a 6th grade spiritual treasure. Its main material is the highest grade sky crystal Oregon. It is supplemented by cloud dragon blood and a few high-grade monster cores. Its defensive power is extremely strong, comparable to a mountain or a boulder. Ordinary Yuan power cannot break through it. At the same time, it can greatly increase the speed of a martial artist. The Ancient Cloud Pattern Dragon Armor is the final item of the Black Rock auction. The starting price is 500,000 low-grade primordial stones, and each increment must not be less than 100,000. The auction starts now. As soon as Nicole finished speaking, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Their expressions were filled with shock. The Ancient Cloud Pattern Dragon Armor in front of them was pure white and silver. It was engraved with flowing cloud, celestial patterns. A sky-blue high-grade monster core was embedded in the middle of the armor, which seemed to increase the defensive power of the armor. Moreover, it was overflowing with spiritual energy. At a glance, one could tell that it was an extraordinary item. This armor is a 6th grade spiritual treasure. If we can obtain it, our strength will increase by at least a few times. A middle-aged man in the auction hall exclaimed in shock. Most of the people in the auction hall had cultivation bases above the star realm. It was extremely rare for them to possess a 5th grade spiritual treasure, let alone a 6th grade spiritual treasure like the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor, in front of them. Even a level 9-star realm rogue cultivator could kill a level 1 martial master with a 6th grade spiritual treasure. This was the power of a 6th grade spiritual treasure. However, although the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor was extremely rare, most of the people in the auction hall did not have the financial resources to compete for it. They could only watch the show. After all, the starting price was 500,000 low-grade primordial stones. Moreover, each increment was at least 100,000. Apart from the 3 major clans of Black Rock City, even some veteran rogue cultivators in the martial master realm could not afford it. It's finally out. The ancient cloud pattern dragon armor. In the heavenly room on the 3rd floor, Chao Ling's eyes lit up as she looked at the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor below. Her beautiful face revealed a hint of excitement. She came to the Black Lava auction this time because she wanted to get her hands on the final item, the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor. If she could obtain the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor, in addition to the 5th grade spiritual treasure, the dragon scale iron blade, which had already fallen into her hands, Chao Ling's strength would increase exponentially. Even if she encountered a level 3 martial master, she would not be afraid. Moreover, in the Heavenly Yuan pool competition 3 months later, Chao Ling's Chao clan would have a much higher chance of winning the competition. 500,000. Without any hesitation, Chao Ling shouted the price. At the same time, her jade-like hands clenched tightly as if she was determined to obtain the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor. Chao Ling has made her move. As expected, she and Lu Xuanyu are both here for the 6th grade spiritual treasure, the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor. Lin Shuai was not too surprised to see Chao Ling bid. Instead, he sighed. Although he was also interested in the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor, he did not have enough financial resources. He had already spent a lot of low-grade primordial stones to purchase the rainbow golden armor. He could not compete with Chao Ling and the others. A 6th grade spiritual treasure. How extravagant! As expected of the World Chamber of Commerce. Fei Ren's expression changed slightly. He was also shocked. Compared to the rainbow golden armor in Lin Shuai's hands, the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor was on a completely different level. After all, the former was a rare 6th grade spiritual treasure, while the rainbow golden armor was only a 4th grade spiritual treasure. The difference was huge. Chapter 315. Sigh. If I can get this cloud pattern ancient dragon armor, I won't be afraid even if I have to face Chao Ling. Unfortunately, the Lin family's financial resources are not enough to support me. Retracting his gaze, Lin Shuai let out a long sigh and shook his head. After all, the Heavenly Yuan pool competition was in 3 months. If Chao Ling or Lu Xuanyu got the cloud pattern ancient dragon armor, it would be even more difficult for the Lin family to achieve good results. Everyone knew how much a grade 6 spiritual treasure could increase a warrior's strength. Brother Lin, there's no need to belittle yourself. There's always a way out. As far as I know, the Heavenly Yuan pool competition is not a one-on-one fight. As long as we win more matches, the Lin family may have a chance to retain its position as one of the 3 great families in Black Rock City. When he saw Lin Shuai's disappointed expression, Fei Ren opened his mouth and advised. Before this, he had learned a little about the rules and origins of the Heavenly Yuan pool competition from Lin Jinan and the rest. The Heavenly Yuan pool competition was held once a year. The 3 great families would each send 5 young juniors to participate. The competition would be conducted by drawing lots. There was no rest in the middle. Those who won consecutively could continue to draw lots. The final ranking would be determined by the number of matches won by each of the 3 great families. In other words, even if Lin Shuai could not defeat Chao Ling and the rest, as long as the other Lin family disciples and Fei Ren could win enough matches, the Lin family could still retain its position as one of the three great families in Blackrock City. I hope so. With Brother Fei's help, perhaps the Lin family really has a chance. In the worst-case scenario, we will have to compete with the Liu family for second place. Hearing this, Lin Shuai nodded deeply. It seemed like he was going to fight for first place. After all, as long as the Lin clan did not place last in the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition, the agreement between Lin Jinan, Liu Shantong, and Chao Chuanwu, the head of the Liu clan and the head of the Chao clan, would be void. The Lin clan would not be eliminated from the ranks of the three major clans in Blackrock City. I bid 600,000. At this moment, following the appearance of the final treasure, the atmosphere of the auction became even more intense, reaching a climax. The person who raised the prize came from the Purple Spirit Sect, an 8th-grade sect near Blackrock City. He was a law-enforcing elder of the Purple Spirit Sect. He was dressed in a purple cloud robe, and his cultivation of Yuanli was very good. He had also reached LV2 Martial Minor Realm, second only to the family masters of the three big families in Blackrock City. They are from the Purple Spirit Sect. Look at that decoration. This person is an elder of the Purple Spirit Sect. No wonder he has such a huge wealth. He asked for 600,000 at once. Tisk tisk, looks like this ancient cloud pattern dragon armor is going to change. Seeing the law-enforcing elder of the Purple Spirit Sect make a bid, the martial artists nearby also began to talk about it. Perhaps it was because of the gap in strength and the pressure of a martial minter realm master. Although he was in the crowded venue on the first floor, there was a large space around the law enforcement elder of the Purple Spirit Sect. It seemed that no one dared to approach him, just like Old Man Whitebone. On the third floor, inside the Sky Room. Young miss, that guy is really bold. He actually dares to compete with you for the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor. At this moment, seeing the law enforcement elder of the Purple Spirit Sect appear halfway, Hua Kuei, who was beside Chao Ling, was slightly stunned. Then she said angrily, seeming to be a little surprised and angry. After all, the Chao family was the head of the three major families in Blackrock City. Few forces and martial artists dared to disrespect them. Is he from the Purple Spirit Sect? No wonder. The relationship between our Chao family and the Purple Spirit Sect is not very good. It's not surprising that he would compete with us for a 6th-grade spirit treasure. Hearing this, Chao Ling rolled her beautiful eyes. Then she looked down at the law enforcement elder of the Purple Spirit Sect, who was wearing a purple cloud robe, and said calmly, 700,000. However, although someone intervened halfway, Chao Ling obviously would not give up. She raised the price again. Young Patriarch, Chao Ling, and that guy from the Purple Spirit Sect have made a move. At this moment, seeing Chao Ling and the law enforcement elder of the Purple Spirit Sect bidding, Zhou Tong stepped forward, looked at Liu Xuanyu, and reminded him. Earlier, he had been sent back to the Liu family by Liu Xuanyu. He had brought a lot of low-grade primordial stones from the Liu family's warehouse, as well as a large number of low-grade spirit treasures and elixirs. If all these treasures were exchanged for low-grade primordial stones, they would be worth about 1 million. How much money did you bring from your family? Liu Xuanyu nodded slightly and asked in a low voice. Young Patriarch, 1 million low-grade primordial stones. Zhou Tong cupped his hands in apology and said respectfully, only 1 million. Narrowing his eyes, Liu Xuanyu's pale face revealed a trace of viciousness. He seemed to have recovered from his previous anger. 1 million low-grade origin stones. Excluding the 550,000 low-grade origin stones that he had spent to purchase the 6th-grade Earth Toad skill, this was already all the financial resources he could currently take out. If he still could not obtain this ancient cloud pattern dragon armor, then there was nothing he could do. 700,000. This girl from the Chao family is really rich. Seeing Chao Ling raise the price again without any hesitation, the law-enforcing elder of the Purple Spirit Sect snorted coldly in the corner of the auction hall. His name was Song Kei, and he was the law-enforcing elder of the Purple Spirit Sect. His strength and status were second only to the sect master of the Purple Spirit Sect. He was one of the famous veteran experts around Blackrock City. Now that he was suppressed by a young junior of the Chao family, he naturally felt unhappy. Fight! It's the last fight, Song Ke thought to himself. The next moment, he gritted his teeth and raised the price again. I'll pay 800,000. Although he was a veteran martial master and had a lot of money, he only brought about 800,000 low-grade primordial stones to the BlackRock auction. The World Chamber of Commerce had always had a rule, and that was that they could not buy on credit. Unless he used spirit treasures or elixirs as collateral, it was impossible to write a promissory note. Therefore, this was the last time Song Ke bid. If he raised the price again, he would be out of money. Gue, the price has risen to 800,000. I wonder who will get this cloud pattern ancient dragon armor in the end. In the earth room on the second floor, Fei Rin touched his nose and sighed with emotion when he saw the price of the cloud pattern ancient dragon armor continue to soar and soon reached 800,000. Compared to the previous auctions, the current auction for the cloud pattern ancient dragon armor was truly a fierce competition. As for the previous auctions, they paled in comparison. Whether it was Song Ke from the Purple Spirit sect, Chao Ling from the Chao family, or even Lu Xuanyu, who had not made a move yet, their wealth made Fei Rin jealous. He even had a strong desire to kill them and rob them of their treasures. Haha, I'm sorry, fellow cultivator from the Purple Spirit sect. I'm determined to get this cloud pattern ancient dragon armor. 900,000. As soon as Song Ke finished speaking, Chao Ling's faint and light voice came from the third floor again. Although it was elegant, it was full of determination. Damn it! Hearing this, Song Ke's face also changed slightly and became gloomy. 900,000 low-grade primordial stones was far beyond what he could afford, unless he was willing to sell his natal spirit treasure to the World Chamber of Commerce as collateral. However, as a veteran marshalman expert, this was absolutely impossible. Haha, Miss Chao Ling's wealth is strong. I admire, however, although a 6th grade spirit treasure is good, if you don't have the strength, it will be a waste. You can only make a wedding dress for others. Although Song Ke gave up the bid, he grinned coldly. There was a trace of sarcasm in his tone. It seemed that he was quite resentful of Chao Ling and the Chao family behind her for not getting this cloud pattern ancient dragon armor. Chapter 3:16. Even the law enforcing Elder Song Ke of the Purple Spirit sect has given up. Looks like this cloud pattern ancient dragon armor belongs to Miss Chao. Chao Ling is the #1 prodigy of BlackRock City. If she obtains this grade 6 spirit treasure, she will be like a tiger that has grown wings. She will be invincible. Seeing that Song Ke had given up halfway, it seemed like he did not have enough money. The crowd began to discuss and sigh. 900,000 low-grade primordial stones. I didn't expect Chao family's wealth to be so terrifying. Looks like Chao Ling has taken out all of her assets. Seeing this, Lin Shuai's face turned solemn. Over the past few years, the Chao family had always been the leader of the 3 great families in BlackRock City. As the eldest lady of the Chao family and the #1 genius among the direct descendants, Chao Ling's position in the Chao family was needless to say. She had occupied most of the Chao family's cultivation resources and financial resources. Otherwise, taking out 900,000 low-grade primordial stones in one go was not something an ordinary warrior could possess. Brother Lin, forgive me for being blunt. Although you're also one of the 3 great families in BlackRock City, the gap between your Lin family and the Chao and Lu families seems to be a little big. Fei Rin curled his lips and said in a playful tone, whether it was Lu Xuanyu or Chao Ling, each of them had at least 700,000 low-grade primordial stones. On the other hand, even with Lin Jinan's financial support, Lin Shuai could only take out 500,000 low-grade primordial stones. With just 500,000 low-grade primordial stones, he could not compete with Chao and Lu families for the cloud pattern ancient dragon armor. Therefore, Lin Shuai did not have much hope in the beginning. Brother Fei, you must be joking. Our Lin family is indeed in dire financial straits. We can't compete with Chao and Lu families. Moreover, there are other branch descendants in Lin family. Naturally, we can't take out all of our wealth. Taking out a few 100,000 low-grade primordial stones is already our limit if Chao and Liu families had not joined forces to suppress Lin family over the years, causing Lin family's businesses to suffer and greatly reducing Li family's profits, we might not be so poor. However, there is no point in talking about this now. Facing Fei Ren's ridicule, Lin Shui sighed helplessly. He only wanted to know who would obtain the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor in the end. After the Black Boulder auction, the entire Lin family would enter a state of preparation for the upcoming Heavenly Yuan Pool competition in 3 months. At this moment, after Song Ke withdrew from the competition, the entire auction house became deathly silent. 900,000, huh? I'm still a little short. I can't let this young lady of the Chao family off so easily. Nicole stood quietly on the stage, her gaze occasionally drifting towards the heavenly VIP room where Chao Ling was. Her gaze was unfocused. Even though 900,000 low-grade yuan stones was already a sky-high price, and it was not a loss to purchase a 6-tier spirit artifact, she was still not satisfied. As the only person in charge of the Heavenly Chamber of Commerce in Blackrock City, Nicole hoped that the price would be raised a few more times. A 6-tier spirit treasure, the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor, will naturally go to the highest bidder. I bid 1 million. Just when everyone thought that the cloud pattern ancient dragon armor was about to fall into Chao Ling's hands, Lu Xuanyu's cold and stern voice sounded from the second floor. His tone was stern. 1 million. As soon as he said this, everyone was shocked. 1 million was enough to purchase several 5th-tier spirit artifacts, cultivation methods, martial arts techniques, and even perfect 6th-tier elixir pills. It was a sky-high price. However, Lu Xuanyu was willing to spend 1 million low-grade yuan stones to compete for the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor. It was indeed a shocking amount. I didn't expect this junior of the Lu family to be so wealthy. In a corner of the auction house, Elder Baigu squinted his eyes. His old face under the clown mask was filled with shock. 1 million low-grade primal stones. Even a veteran LV-1 martial master like him could not remain calm, and his heart was filled with greed. If not for the fact that he was in the Black Boulder auction house, surrounded by the spies and experts of the Heavenly Chamber of Commerce, and the fact that Lu Xuanyu was from the Lu family, which is a descendant of a powerful family, Elder Baigu would have killed him. Hee. I wonder who will get the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor in the end. Although Elder Baigu did not intend to fight, he could not suppress his murderous intent and greed. Elder Baigu's lips curled into a sinister smile. He seemed to be thinking of some unfathomable evil plan. Lu Xuanyu, you should know that you can't beat me with your little wealth. I advise you to stop now, Chao Ling said calmly. She seemed to have expected Lu Xuanyu to bid for the armor. Chao Ling, don't be a hypocrite. If you hadn't cheated me and made me spend 550,000 low-grade yuan stones, you wouldn't have been able to compete with me for the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor. Faced with Chao Ling's warning, Lu Xuanyu roared furiously. His face flushed red, and his hair stood up on the spot. Cheated? The local toad technique is a genuine grade 6 cultivation method. I didn't cheat you. If you hadn't offered such a high price, I might have been able to get the local toad technique at a low price. Chao Ling chuckled. Her tone was playful, as though she was happy to see Lu Xuanyu's exasperated look. Cut the crap. I've bid 1 million for the ancient cloud pattern dragon armor. Miss Nicole, if no one has any objections, please announce the result. With a cold snort, Lu Xuanyu looked at Nicole on the stage and said in a serious tone. Earlier, Chao Ling had spent a lot of low-grade primordial stones to buy a 5th-grade spirit treasure, the Dragon Scale Iron Blade. Lu Xuanyu had seen this as well, so he was sure that Chao Ling had no extra money to compete for the cloud pattern ancient dragon armor. After all, Lu Xuanyu had spent a lot of effort to get the 1 million low-grade yuan stones. He had plundered most of the treasures in the Lu family's treasury. Nicole opened her mouth. Just as she was about to speak, Chao Ling's light voice sounded again. Sorry, I bid 1,200,000. 1,200,000? Not only Lu Xuanyu and Zhou Tong, but even Fei Run and the rest, as well as the entire auction site, fell into a dead silence. How can this be? How can this girl be so wealthy? That's a total of 1,200,000 low-grade yuan stones. Lu Xuanyu was almost in a daze. He had thought that his bid of 1 million would be enough to defeat Chao Ling. However, it seemed like a joke now. Chao Ling's wealth was not inferior to his since the beginning. In fact, it was far superior. Now that Chao Ling had increased the price by 200,000 in one go, Lu Xuanyu felt that she was out of his reach. Chapter 317. 1. 2 million spirit stones. I can't believe Chao Ling has so much money. How can this be? Lin Shuai was also deeply shocked by this scene. In the eyes of the outside forces and martial artists, the Lu family was undoubtedly the wealthiest of the three major families in Blackrock City. However, Chao Ling's extravagance today had shattered everyone's understanding, including the Grade 5 spirit treasure, the dragon-scale meteoric blade. Chao Ling had at least 1,600,000 low-grade origin stones in her possession. Such terrifying wealth was comparable to the income of an 8th-rank clan or sect for several years, and it was far more than that. It seems that the Chao family has been pretending to be weak all these years. At this moment, Lin Shuai could not help but have such a thought. Although the Lu family was the wealthiest 8th-rank family in Blackrock City, the truth was that the Chao family was far more powerful than the other two major families in terms of both wealth and foundation. Young clan leader, I didn't expect Chao Ling to bid 2 million spirit stones. It seems that she still has some money left. Even if we use all our money, we won't be able to compete with her. Now that the situation had been decided, Zhou Tong's face darkened, and he asked Lu Xuanyu tentatively. At this moment, Lu Xuanyu's expression was ugly as well. His eyes flashed with viciousness. Not only did he fail to get the Tier 6 Cloud Pattern Ancient Dragon Armor, but he was also cheated of his primordial stones. How could he tolerate this? However, the Chao family was now powerful, and the Lu family and the Chao family were still allies on the surface. There were some interests involved, so he could not directly fall out with the Chao family. Maybe it's time to contact the Lin family. Zhou Tong, let's go. Thinking of this, Lu Xuanyu secretly clenched his fists, snorted, and hurriedly left the Earth-ranked private room. Obviously, he had given up on bidding and had other plans in mind. Seeing Lu Xuanyu quietly leave the auction house, Zhou Tong's face also turned solemn, and he quickly followed him. 2 million spirit stones. Deal. Seeing Lu Xuanyu's withdrawal, Song Ke from the Purple Spirit Sect was unable to compete, and everyone else fell silent. Nicole, who was on the stage, immediately understood what was going on. After an intense bidding war, this Grade 6 soul treasure, Ancient Cloud Pattern Dragon Armor, was finally won by the eldest daughter of the Chao family, Chao Ling. Furthermore, she spent a total of 1,200,000 low-grade yuan stones, an astronomical price. Miss, we're lucky that Lu Xuanyu from the Lu family didn't raise the price. After deducting the money for the dragon-scale meteoric blade, we only have 2 million low-grade primal stones left. Chao Ling's personal maid, Hua Kuei, smiled faintly and said after seeing that the auction of the Cloud Pattern Ancient Dragon Armor had finally come to an end. At the same time, she patted her ample chest gently, as if she had heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. This Cloud Pattern Ancient Dragon Armor was a genuine Tier 6 spirit treasure. It was overflowing with spiritual energy and had an extremely strong defensive power. It could withstand most of the impact of origin energy. Moreover, after a martial artist wore this armor, his speed would be increased and he would be like a ghost. Therefore, the final price of 1,200,000 low-grade primal stones was not considered a loss. After all, Grade 6 spirit treasures were basically priceless in the Blackrock City. Moreover, Grade 6 spirit treasures did not appear in every Blackrock auction. Most of the time, it depended on luck. Now that Chao Ling had obtained the Cloud Pattern Ancient Dragon Armor, it could be said that she was lucky and lucky. Hua Kuei, Lu Xuanyu is already at the end of his rope. Naturally, he's no match for me. Moreover, our Chao family's financial resources are not inferior to the Lu family's. Things are different now. Chao Ling glanced at Hua Kuei beside her and pursed her lips. Then, she got up and left. Now that we've obtained the item, let's hurry up and leave. There are too many people here, and there are too many people from all walks of life. We have to bring the item back to the family as soon as possible. Yes, miss. Hua Kuei bowed obediently. In the next moment, she followed Chao Ling and left in small, quick steps. At this moment, after the cloud pattern ancient dragon armor had been obtained by Chao Ling, the Black Rock auction had finally come to an end. Most of the warriors in the auction hall had left one after another. Only a small number of people stayed in the lobby on the first floor. They seemed to have other thoughts. It's not over yet. At the corner of the auction hall, Old Man Baigu's eyes were vaguely looking in the direction of the second floor, where Fei Ran was. He snorted coldly in his heart. Originally, he felt humiliated because Fei Ran repeatedly raised the price of a gold spirit congealing pill and did not give him any face. Now that the auction was over, with his vengeful character, he naturally wanted to take revenge on Fei Ran. On the second floor, in a certain earth room, Brother Fei, Old Man Baigu seems to have his eyes on you. Sensing Old Man Baigu's gaze, Lin Shuai's expression was grave as he spoke. From the very beginning, when Fei Ran had snatched the Grade 5 gold spirit congealing pill, he had already expected it. After all, the Old Man Whitebone was quite famous in the area around Black Rock City, and was extremely vengeful. I'll deal with whatever comes my way. However, to Lin Shuai's surprise, Fei Ran did not care about Old Man Baigu's threat at all. His expression was calm. Old Brother Lin, I will be going into seclusion to train for a period of time. We will meet again at the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition in 3 months. Fei Ran spoke again. In the next moment, he cupped his hands together towards Lin Shuai, after which he turned around and left. It seemed that he did not intend to be a burden to Lin Shuai. Instead, he wanted to deal with Old Man Baigu alone. Brother Fei Ran. Lin Shuai was just about to speak when he saw Fei Ran leave in the next moment. His figure turned into an afterimage and disappeared. Lin Shuai could not help but be at a loss for words. I hope nothing will happen to Brother Fei. Seeing this scene, Lin Shuai felt extremely helpless. He immediately shook his head and sighed. Although Old Man Baigu was a veteran level 1 martial master expert, he was also aware of Fei Ran's strength. He was not weaker than any half-step martial master. As long as Fei Ran did not leave Black Rock City, even if Old Man Baigu wanted to kill him, it would not be that easy. However, what Lin Shuai did not expect was that not only did Fei Ran not intend to avoid the battle, but he also wanted to kill Old Man Baigu. Even though Fei Ran's cultivation was only at the 7th level of the Star Realm, all of his cultivation techniques and martial arts were top-notch. He had already reached the great mastery stage of the Dharma transformation technique, and he had mastered the powerful Dharma golden body. Moreover, the martial art he had comprehended on his own had also reached the small mastery stage of the Dharma fist. In addition, he also had various trump cards, such as the 8 trigrams flag and the Green Dragon halberd. As long as he did not encounter a level 2 martial master expert, Fei Ran was not afraid of anyone. Moreover, killing and seizing treasures was an eternal law in the martial arts world. If Fei Ran, who had the refining Immortal Cauldron, could devour the life essence in Old Man Baigu's body, his origin energy cultivation would definitely increase greatly. He might even break through to level 9 star stage. Outside Black Rock City, Fei Ran's figure was like a gust of wind. He quickly left and rushed toward a remote hillside in the suburbs. Chapter 3:18. Swish! A strong wind whistled past, and in the next moment, Fei Ran's figure suddenly landed on the ground. At the same time, he turned around to look behind him. Old man, how long are you going to follow me? His eyes narrowed as a thin black figure gradually appeared not far away from Fei Ran. At this moment, he was standing on the hillside with a cold and powerful aura. Little brat, your sense of smell is quite sharp. However, you won't be able to escape from this old man's palm today. The thin black figure was an old man in a black robe. His voice was hoarse and cold. At the same time, He wore a strange clown mask on his face, revealing only a pair of turbid yellow eyes. It was Old Man Baigu, who had appeared at the Black Boulder auction previously. He had been tricked by Fei Ren and forcefully won the gold spirit congealing pill. Old Man Baigu was also jealous, so he had followed him all the way here, planning to take the opportunity to kill him and snatch the treasure. After all, Fei Ren only had a 7th-level Star Realm cultivation. To Old Man Baigu, who was a 1st-level martial master, he was like an ant that could be easily crushed. Old man, there are many people who want to kill me. You are not qualified. Facing Old Man Baigu, who was full of killing intent, Fei Ren also raised the corner of his mouth and sneered. Then, he reached for the green dragon halberd behind him. Whoosh! The green dragon halberd shot out in all directions. Originally, he had used some cloth and satin to cover the sharp halberd head of the green dragon halberd, not revealing the power and aura of a 5th-grade spirit treasure. After all, the green dragon halberd was Zhang Qingyang's relic, and was not something an ordinary 5th-grade spirit treasure could compare to. The Old Man Baigu in front of him was a veteran expert of the 1st-level martial master realm. His trump cards were unknown, so it was worth Fei Ren using the green dragon halberd. A 5th-grade spirit treasure? Seeing Fei Ren take out the green dragon halberd, Old Man Baigu narrowed his eyes, as if he could also see that this spirit treasure was extraordinary. Old man, it seems that you know your stuff. If you surrender now, I can consider letting you go. Seeing this scene, Fei Ren grinned, full of ridicule. Ignorant brat, how arrogant. However, Old Man Baigu was furious in the face of ridicule. Black Devil Kill. The old man waved his sleeves gently. He raised his hand and shot out a pitch-black yuan power pillar. It swept towards Fei Ren across the air. Swoosh! Rumble! A black yuan power pillar streaked across the sky, instantly bringing about a wave of ear-piercing sonic booms. In less than a breath's time, it landed in front of Fei Ren and suddenly exploded, completely sealing off the surrounding dozens of feet, leaving no room for escape. This little brat is only at the 7th level of the Star Realm. He shouldn't be able to withstand my attack. He's dead for sure. After this attack, Old Baigu withdrew his hand and laughed coldly in his heart. Although Fei Ren possessed a decent tier 5 spiritual treasure, he was still a level 1 martial master. Everyone knew that the gap between the martial master realm and the high star realm was not small. It was like the gap between heaven and earth. Even a 10th level high star realm martial artist would not be able to withstand his full power attack, let alone Fei Ren, who was only at the 7th level high star realm. Boom! However, just when Old Baigu thought that Fei Ren was going to die, another earth-shattering explosion sounded in the next moment. Immediately, the surrounding dust flew up, and Fei Ren's figure reappeared. At this moment, his entire body was enveloped by a layer of dazzling golden light, as if he was not injured at all. What? Impossible! The sudden change startled Old Man Whitebone. His eyes were filled with disbelief. His attack, just now, was enough to annihilate any opponent below the martial master realm. However, Fei Ren was not injured at all. How could this not shock him? At this moment, Fei Ren's entire body was flickering with golden light, as if he was wearing an indestructible golden armor. Moreover, the muscles around his limbs had expanded several times. His veins were exposed, and even his hair had turned reddish gold. He was like a wild barbarian from foreign tribe. His aura was terrifying, as if a god had descended to the world. Is this the true power of the Dharma golden body? Feeling the boiling blood flowing continuously in his body, as well as the surging power that filled his body, Fei Ren also clenched his fists tightly. His face was filled with surprise. Old Baigu was not the only one who was shocked. This was also the first time he had completely unleashed the power of the Dharma golden body. Ever since the Dharma Thousand transformation technique had reached the great success realm, and the Dharma golden arm had evolved into the stronger Dharma golden body, Fei Ren had never truly used his full strength. This time, he could use it against Old Baigu. Old Baigu, who was at the first level of the martial master realm, was his best martial arts whetstone. Just like the previous attack, Old Baigu, who was furious and attacked with all his strength, could only break Fei Rin's external protective Yuanli. He could not hurt him at all, who was in the state of the Dharma golden body. This level of attack was like scratching an itch. Who the hell is this guy? At this moment, sensing that Fei Rin's aura had greatly increased, Old Baigu could not help but feel a trace of uneasiness in his heart. Let's end this quickly. Old Baigu made a prompt decision in his heart. In the next moment, Old Baigu stretched out his hand toward the spirit ring on his finger and instantly summoned a white skeleton from it. The white skeleton held a bone blade that was covered with barbs. At the same time, its entire body was an empty skeleton. Although it was only a skeleton, it had an aura that was not weaker than that of a first-level martial master realm expert. It seemed to be Old Baigu's strongest trump card. Although the white skeleton did not have spiritual intelligence and was only a puppet that could be controlled by a person, its speed was indeed top-notch. In just a short moment, it rushed toward Fei Rin, who was opposite him, and at the same time, it stirred up a gust of wind. Black demonic illusionary spear. Just as the white skeleton launched its attack, Old Baigu did not stay idle. Yuanli gushed out from his other palms, and in the next moment, it condensed into an extremely sharp white bone spear that shot toward Fei Rin. Chila! Rumble! The white bone spear pierced through the air, and suddenly there was a burst of air-rending sounds. Useless effort. In the face of Old Baigu's powerful attack, Fei Rin's expression was still calm. The golden light around his body intensified, and at the same time, the azure dragon halberd in his right hand pierced forward. A large amount of golden Yuanli swept out, and, at the same time, it turned into a roaring golden dragon. Roar! The golden dragon roared, and in the next moment, it fiercely collided with the head of the white bone spear. Immediately, the Yuanli shattered and retreated. Old Baigu's body was also forced back by the large amount of Yuanli's remaining power. He spat out a mouthful of old blood, and his entire body fell to the back of the hill without any resistance. Just as Fei Rin forced Old Baigu to retreat with his halberd, the white skeleton's attack from the other side also arrived. The bone blade in its hand was raised high, and in the next moment, it fiercely chopped toward Fei Rin's left shoulder. The attack was swift and violent. Bang! Clang! The sharp bone blade was mixed with barbs as it fiercely chopped at Fei Rin's left shoulder. Immediately, there was an ear-piercing sound of silver and iron clashing. However, it did not break through the powerful defense of the Dharma golden body, and only left a small gap on the left shoulder side of the golden light that enveloped his body. On the other hand, Fei Rin was unscathed. His body was still standing on the ground, and his right hand was still holding the azure dragon halberd tightly. He was like a war god. Chapter 319. This first-level martial master realm skeleton is still unable to break through my defense. The power of the Dharma golden body is truly powerful. With a cold gaze, in the next moment, Fei Rin also raised his hand and blasted the white skeleton in front of him. At the same time, the origin energy around his body surged out again, and the gap on his left shoulder that had been split open was once again restored, bathed in the golden light. Crack! Crack! After being sent flying by Fei Rin's palm, the white skeleton twisted its body and barely managed to stop its body from retreating, emitting a series of crisp, bone-cracking sounds. Although it didn't have any intelligence and only knew how to kill and destroy, under the pressure of Fei Rin's powerful aura, the white skeleton didn't launch another attack for a while. It just stood there in a daze, the bone blade in its hand shining brightly. Damn it! Even this old man's white skeleton was unable to break through this golden light defense. What kind of cultivation method is this kid cultivating? At this time, the white bone elder at the side also struggled to get up from the ground. Blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth, and even the clown mask on his face was broken, revealing a miserable old face. He looked at Fei Ren with eyes full of fear and anger. Fei Ren's strength had greatly exceeded his expectations. After all, in the knowledge of ordinary martial artists, if a 10th level Star Realm martial artist could contend against a 1st level Martial Master Realm expert, it was already an extremely rare existence. Even a genius who could challenge someone of a higher level could only do so. However, the Fei Ren in front of him was a freak who didn't care about anything. Even though his cultivation was only at the 7th level of the Star Realm, he was able to challenge an expert at the 1st level of the Martial Master Realm. Moreover, it wasn't a simple contest, but a complete suppression. Old man, are you at your wit's end? Then, die. Seeing that the White Bone Elder had yet to fall, Fei Ren was not surprised. He immediately held the green dragon halberd in his hand, his origin energy surging as he flew out again. After all, his opponent's cultivation was at the 1st level of the Martial Master Realm, which was several levels higher than his own cultivation. Furthermore, there was a white bone puppet beside him that was also at the 1st level of the Martial Master Realm. A skinny camel was still bigger than a horse. It would be a little arrogant for him to want to kill his opponent in one move. However, relying on the powerful defense of the Dharma Golden Body, Fei Ren was in an invincible position. It was only a matter of time before he killed the White Bone Elder. Black Demon Illusionary Spear. At this moment, Old Man Whitebone was shocked when he saw Fei Ren change from offense to defense and attack again. He immediately raised his hand and blasted out a white bone spear that was condensed from origin energy. It also swept up a wave of demonic wind and attacked Fei Ren. This move was, of course. White bone puppet art, sacrificial refinement. After the attack, Elder Whitebone did not slack off. He once again formed a seal with both hands. At the same time, he opened his mouth and bit the middle of his index finger. Instantly, blood dripped to the ground as if he was performing some kind of mysterious, forbidden martial art. Crack! Crack! After a moment, the white bone skeleton, which had been standing still, suddenly trembled. Then, its aura soared, more than twice as strong as before. It was as if it had come alive again. In the next moment, it launched a fierce attack on Fei Ren, the bone blade in its hand slashing across the sky. This old man is actually willing to use his own life essence to enhance the power of this white bone skeleton. Fei Ren was slightly surprised. At the same time, he tightened his grip on the green dragon halberd. The life essence was the foundation of a martial artist. Like soul power, once it was damaged, it could not be recovered. If a martial artist's life essence was used up too much, it would greatly affect his lifespan. It should be known that even a martial master expert only had a lifespan of 150 years, which was not much longer than an ordinary human. Just this mouthful of life essence had cost Old Man Baigu at least 30 years of his lifespan. Obviously, the White Bone Elder had been forced to a dead end by Fei Ren. In order to kill him, he was willing to do anything, even if he had to sacrifice 30 years of his life. Bodhidharma, Golden Body. Although the White Bone Elder's attack was still as fierce as before, with the assistance of the White Bone Skeleton, it was still unable to break through Fei Ren's defense. Bang! Rumble! In an instant, the White Bone Spear and the Sharp Bone Blade formed by Yuan power attacked Fei Ren. In an instant, they broke through his protective Yuan power and fiercely hit his body, creating a deafening explosion. Rumble! In the collision, the golden light and Yuan power entangled and devoured each other. However, they were unable to break through Fei Ren's Bodhidharma Golden Body. In the next moment, they were destroyed with a loud bang and disappeared into thin air, leaving behind a terrifying aura. Although the current Fei Ren had forcefully withstood the attack, he had also used up a lot of Yuan power. The golden light that originally enveloped his body shattered bit by bit, then turned into nothingness. It seemed to have reached its limit. After all, to maintain the Bodhidharma Golden Body for a long period of time was also an enormous consumption of Yuan power. With Fei Ren's current Yuan power cultivation, he could only maintain the Bodhidharma Golden Body for less than 15 minutes. any longer, and his yuan power would run out. Break! Without giving his opponent a chance to catch his breath, Faerun once again controlled the green dragon halberd after blocking Old White Bone's powerful attack. At the same time, he slashed out an incomparably huge yuan power halberd light. The yuan power halberd light swept across the void and instantly blasted towards the white bone skeleton opposite him. Bang! Crack! Although its speed was not bad, compared to Fei Rin's attack, the white bone skeleton in front of him was still too inferior. It was ruthlessly swept by the yuan power halberd light on the spot and immediately fell to the empty ground behind it. A wave of bone-cracking sounds were emitted, and it was almost smashed into pieces. You're next. Old fellow, prepare to die. After finishing off the white bone skeleton with one blow, Fei Rin's target turned towards Old White Bone, who was already seriously injured on the other side. At the same time, the green dragon halberd in his hand once again swept out, yuan power sweeping in all directions. Swoosh! Swoosh! The green dragon halberd in Fei Rin's hand was like a large windmill. In an instant, waves of halberd light swept up like an inescapable net, after which it enveloped Old White Bone, sealing off all the vital spots on his body, making it difficult for him to dodge. If others did not offend him, he would not offend them. Since Old White Bone had the intention to kill him, Fei Rin would naturally not show mercy. He was determined to send the other party to the 9th level of hell. The halberd light swept past. In merely a breath's time, Old White Bone emitted a miserable cry. Unable to resist, his body was once again sent flying, while he continuously vomited blood. Blood splattered. In the next moment, a section of a bloody arm fell to the ground. It was cut off by Fei Rin. Old White Bone was already seriously injured. Now that one of his arms had been cut off by Fei Rin, he was even more powerless to resist. He was just like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. After Fei Rin seriously injured Old White Bone with one blow, he similarly did not give the other party a chance to escape. His figure instantly disappeared from the spot. Swoosh! A cold and evil green halberd light instantly cut through the void. With a muffled, thunder-like whistle, it struck Old White Bone's chest from the back. Old White Bone emitted a miserable cry. In the next moment, he fell to the ground. He had actually been pierced by the green dragon halberd on the spot. Blood gushed out from his chest. It was obvious that he would not survive. Chapter 320. The White Bone Old Man was one of the veteran experts of Black Rock City. He was at the first stage of the Martial Master Realm. How could he have imagined that not only would he die in the underworld, but he would also die at the hands of 7th-stage Star Realm Jr. like Fei Rin? However, as the vitality in his body continued to fade, Elder White Bone's head tilted to one side, and he stopped breathing. Blood stained the ground under his feet. Swoosh! With a leap, Fei Rin immediately stepped in front of Elder White Bone's corpse. At the same time, he raised his hand and took all of Elder White Bone's belongings in his spiritual ring. Since he was going to kill someone, he naturally had to rob them. As a veteran LV-1 Martial Minor Realm expert, Elder White Bone's wealth was much richer than that of ordinary warriors. He had nearly 150,000 low-grade primordial stones. There were also some profound-level monster cores and top-grade herbs in his spiritual ring. Most of them were herbs above grade 4, which could be sold for a lot of money. This old guy is quite rich. After harvesting Elder White Bone's inheritance, Fei Rin was delighted and in a good mood. In addition, he would not waste Elder White Bone's corpse in front of him. As a warrior who cultivated primordial energy, although his physical body had died, the remaining life essence in his body would not disappear quickly. Therefore, the life essence could also be absorbed and refined by the immortal refining cauldron in Fei Rin's body. It would become one of the nutrients in his dantian and strengthen his primordial energy cultivation. After all, the immortal refining cauldron was the only immortal Tao treasure in the universe. It could refine everything in the world and swallow mountains and seas. It had supreme, mysterious, divine power. Although the current Fei Rin could not do this, It was more than enough to absorb and refine the corpse of LV-1 Martial Mentor warrior. Whoosh! Whoosh! With a thought, Fei Ren summoned the ancient Immortal refining cauldron in the next moment. At this moment, it was silently floating in his left palm, and it emitted waves of profound aura that caused others to be unable to help but feel relaxed and happy. Since the Immortal refining cauldron had merged with his Dantian, the changes in the Immortal refining cauldron became more and more obvious as Fei Ren's strength continued to increase. At this moment, the inscriptions on the surface of the cauldron were not as dim as before. Instead, they had a trace of luster and were flickering slightly. At the same time, the smelting Immortal cauldron's speed of devouring and refining also became faster and faster, as if it had some kind of awakening. After a few years of exploration, Fei Ren's control over the Immortal refining cauldron had also become more and more adept. He had a feeling that there were many secrets behind the Immortal refining cauldron. Perhaps as his strength continued to increase, these secrets would gradually be revealed one day. Refine. After retracting his thoughts, Fei Ren stored the old man's corpse into the Immortal refining cauldron. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As the corpse entered the divine cauldron, the next moment, flames surged out from the divine cauldron. Like the Grand Supreme Elder's cauldron, the flames flickered and quickly refined the remaining life essence in the corpse. The cauldron trembled slightly, and a layer of clouds rose and dispersed. It seemed that the refinement had ended. Gulp! The 8th level of the star realm. With his mouth wide open, Fei Ren instantly swallowed the pure origin energy refined from the divine cauldron into his Dantian. At the same time, his body shook and a beam of light shot out from his eyes. The origin energy aura on his body also skyrocketed, reaching the 8th level of the star realm. After absorbing and refining the old man's corpse, his origin energy cultivation finally reached the 8th level of the star realm, which was not unexpected. With the breakthrough in cultivation, Fei Ren's strength also skyrocketed. When he used all his trump cards, he was comparable to the 2nd level of the Martial Master Realm. Well, it seems that my Dantian's appetite is getting bigger and bigger. After absorbing the corpse of a Martial Master Realm expert, it only broke through 1 level. Fei Ren exhaled deeply, and his face returned to normal. Although his cultivation had broken through, he was not blinded by joy. Instead, he was very calm. The total amount of origin energy in a 1st-level Martial Master Realm expert's body was usually several times, or even dozens of times, that of a high-level Star Realm martial artist. If an ordinary high-level Star Realm martial artist absorbed the residual life essence of a 1st-level Martial Master Realm expert, he would at least break through several levels. However, Fei Ren was an exception. Although the golden origin energy in his body was powerful, the capacity of his Dantian was also several times that of an ordinary martial artist. Therefore, the total amount of origin energy needed to break through was even greater. This was only the high-level Star Realm, which was at the 3rd level of the Mortal Body Realm. When Fei Ren broke through the 1st level of the Martial Master Realm and stepped into the 3rd level of the Martial Body Realm, the total amount of origin energy needed to break through would be incomparably huge. Fei Ren conservatively estimated that if he wanted to break through to the 1st level of the Martial Master Realm, he would need to absorb at least 1 million low-grade origin stones or 10,000 mid-grade origin stones. 1 million low-grade origin stones. Back then, Chao Ling had only spent 2 million low-grade origin stones to bid for the Grade 6 Spirit Treasure, the Cloud Pattern Ancient Dragon Armor. Although this thing is useless, that white skeleton seems to be able to be repaired. This is not a loss. After memorizing all the essentials of the 9 puppet arts, Fei Ren threw it back into the spiritual ring. At the same time, he looked at the white skeleton that was motionless not far away. It had already been beaten to a pulp, and his eyes were filled with joy. This broken 9 puppet arts could be sold for some money in the future. The white skeleton in front of him was one of the puppets that the white bone old man had painstakingly sacrificed when he was alive. Although it had been beaten to a pulp by Fei Run, it could still be used to repair it. In the future, it would be a great battle force under his command. According to the essentials of the 9 puppet arts, as long as it was continuously sacrificed with the blood of living creatures, the white skeleton puppet could also grow indefinitely, just like raising a pet magical beast. Moreover, puppets did not have spiritual intelligence and were not afraid of death. At critical times, they could be used as a life-saving measure. Chapter 321. Crack. Faerun reached out to touch the white skeleton in front of him. He discovered that the white skeleton did not react after losing the old man's control. It had become a dead object with only a skeleton. According to the essence of the 9 puppet arts, if one wanted to control and refine a puppet, one would need to imprint one's own blood essence into it through some kind of spell. From there, one would be able to control the puppet and use it for one's own use. If this thing is nurtured properly, it might be of great use against Chao Ling and the others in the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition. After comprehending the essence of the 9 puppet arts, Fei Ren was also aware of the power of the puppet arts. Although the 9 puppet arts in his hand was only an incomplete copy, it still recorded the basic method of refining a puppet. That was enough. As long as Fei Ren used his essence force to disperse the blood essence imprint left behind by Elder Whitebone, and at the same time engraved his blood essence imprint into the white skeleton, he would be able to truly control this great combat force after the white skeleton was repaired. In addition, the mystery of the puppet arts could not be separated from sacrifices. If one wanted to make the puppet under one's control stronger, one would need to continuously refine it with the blood essence of living beings. Therefore, this was also the reason why the old man of White Bones had targeted Fei Ren. Firstly, he wanted to kill Fei Run and steal his treasures. Secondly, he wanted to use Fei Run as a sacrifice to refine the white bone skeleton with Fei Ren's blood essence so that it could grow stronger. However, all of these had ended up benefiting Fei Ren. Not only did the old man die on the spot, but he was also swallowed and refined by Fei Ren's divine, immortal refining cauldron. Even his precious puppet had fallen into Fei Ren's hands. Tua. Fei Ren reached out and bit his index finger. In the next moment, he sucked a mouthful of blood and spat it onto the white skeleton skull. At the same time, his hands began to form a series of seals. He began to imprint his own blood essence imprint according to the 9 puppet arts. When the blood essence imprint was imprinted, the white skeleton would truly become Fei Ren's possession and would be under his control. It's finally done. A few minutes later, Fei Ren also stopped and stood up, his eyes slightly bright. Just now, he also noticed that there was a weak connection between his dantian and the white skeleton in front of him. As long as he moved his mind, the white skeleton would react, and, at the same time, he would be able to control it. Attack. Fei Ren's mind moved. The next moment, the white skeleton also reacted. It immediately struggled to get up slowly. At the same time, its hand bone turned into a sharp bone blade. It instantly slashed toward a giant tree not far away, bringing along a gust of wind. Boom! Not far away, a towering tree slowly fell down, creating a layer of airwaves. Although this white skeleton's attacks were still ferocious, its destructive power and speed had been greatly reduced. It seemed to have been severely damaged in the previous battle, and its strength had dropped to the 6th or 7th level of the Star Realm. Next, I have to find a way to fix it. When he saw this, Fei Ren also narrowed his eyes slightly. Then, he reached out and touched his chin. Although the white skeleton had successfully changed hands, its current strength was much weaker than before. It was only at the 6th or 7th level of the Star Realm. It was not of much help to him. Fei Ren still had to spend some effort to fix it. Otherwise, it would be useless. It just so happened that there were about 3 months before the Heavenly Origin Pool competition began. It was enough time for Fei Ren to fix this white skeleton. At the same time, he could strengthen his origin power cultivation base that he had just broken through. Just as Fei Ren began his closed-door cultivation, an undercurrent was surging on the other side. Black Rock City, Lin family, inside a hidden basement. This basement was not large. The walls were made of smooth stalactites, which emitted waves of cold qi. It seemed to be a good secret cultivation room. It was very quiet. At this moment, only an old figure stood quietly in it, as if he had been waiting for a long time. "Father, you're looking for me?" Suddenly, a white-robed young man slowly stepped into the secret room. At the same time, he cupped his hands at the old figure in the middle of the room with a solemn expression. "Qiu Shui, there's an outsider in the family, and he's quite powerful. Do you know?" After glancing at the white-robed young man, the old figure slowly turned around, revealing a solemn and sinister face. It was the Lin family's first elder, Lin Fun, who had not been seen for a long time. "I know a little about him. That person is called Fei Run. He seems to be an outsider. He's quite powerful. Even Elder Lin Ping is no match for him." In response to Lin Fun's question, the white-robed young man cupped his hands with a solemn expression. His name was Lin Qiushui. Not only was he Lin Fun's only eldest son, but he was also one of the best among the younger generation of the Lin family. His strength and status were second only to the Lin family's young master, Lin Shui. He was quite famous in the Lin family. In order to prepare for the upcoming Heavenly Origin Pool competition, Lin Qiushui had been in closed-door cultivation for many days. He had only come out today. At the same time, his Origin Power cultivation base had reached the 10th level of the Star Realm. His strength had increased significantly. "It's good that you know. The head of the family has already made the decision to give your quota to Fei Run." Lin Fun arrived in front of Lin Qiushui in a flash. In the next moment, he spoke in a cold and calm tone. "What? Father, this is unfair." Lin Qiushui was stunned when he heard this. Then, he angrily said. He was clearly very dissatisfied. After all, the quota for the Heavenly Yuan Pool's baptism had been decided internally for many years. It would be given to the most powerful younger generation of the Lin family. Among the younger generation of the Lin family, other than young Master Lin Shui, none of the other Lin family members were a match for Lin Qiushui. He naturally could not accept that his quota was taken away by an outsider. This is unfair. You want the horse to run, but you also want the horse to not eat grass. The head of the family has taken away your quota, and now wants you to represent the Lin family in the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition 3 months from now. How can there be such a good thing in this world? When he saw Lin Qiushui's reaction, Lin Fun coldly chuckled. Soon after, he sinisterly said, as if he had already expected this. Ever since Fei Run had forcefully crippled the Lin family branch Elder Lin Ping in the Lin family hall, Lin Fun's heart had been in a sullen mood. He had been complaining deeply. Lin Ping's injury was nothing much, as it did not threaten his interests. However, Lin Jinan had chosen to give up his quota for the Heavenly Yuan Pool's baptism to an outsider like Fei Rin. This had crossed Lin Fun's bottom line. Everyone knew that the Lin family was ranked last among the 3 great clans. They only had 2 quotas for the Heavenly Yuan Pool's baptism. Lin Shui, the young master of the Lin family, had taken one, while Fei Run had taken the other. Hence, even if there was a good thing, it would not be the Lin Fun and his son's turn. This was the reason why Lin Fun was so angry. "Father, do you have any other ideas?" Lin Qiushui gritted his teeth and said as he looked at the gloomy expression on Lin Fun's face. He was clearly unwilling to give up. After all, the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition 3 months from now was very likely to be the last time the Lin family participated in it as one of the 3 great clans of Blackrock City. Hence, this baptism quota was even more precious to him. Currently, Lin Qiushui's Yuan power cultivation had already reached the High Star Stage 10th level. If he could obtain another baptism in the Heavenly Yuan Pool's spring water, he would have a very high chance of breaking through to the Martial Master stage. At the very least, he would break through to the half-step Martial Master stage, greatly increasing his strength. Hence, Lin Qiushui was unwilling to give up the last Heavenly Yuan Pool baptism quota to an outsider like Fei Rin. Chapter 322. There is naturally a way, but it is very difficult. We may need that person's help. Glancing at Lin Xiaoshui, Lin Fen said faintly. His tone was somewhat meaningful. Father, isn't this a little inappropriate? If we get too entangled with that person, it may be disadvantageous to our Lin family. Hearing this, Lin Xiaoshui was first stunned. Then, he said with a grave expression. He seemed to know what Lin Fen was thinking, and his tone was uneasy. Xiaoshui, you should know that other than the members of the Chao family, no one else can help us now. Moreover, as the head of the family, Lin Jinan has been shielding his son in every way, allowing Lin Shui to occupy most of the cultivation resources of the Lin family. What we're doing now is merely cleaning up the family and regaining control of the Lin family. Lin Fen smiled coldly in response to Lin Xiaoshui's reminder. His eyes were fierce, as if he already had a plan in mind. Over the years, he had always been the second in command of the Lin family. As Lin Jinan's younger brother, not only was he weaker than Lin Jinan, but his position in the Lin family was also the same. Although in the eyes of outsiders, Lin Fen was extremely glorious and was second only to one person. He was extremely dissatisfied in his heart. He had always had the ambition to become the family head and control the entire Lin family. Driven by his wild ambition, Lin Fen had taken a risk a few years ago and colluded with an elder of the Chao family in a vain attempt to use the Chao family's help to topple Lin Jinan, this great enemy of his, and become the new family head of the Lin family. As for the previous attack on Lin Shui and the rest by the Black Cloud Citadel bandits, it was the father and son duo who purposely leaked the information, revealing the whereabouts of the bandits and the Lin family's caravan to the Chao family. However, Lin Fen and his son never expected that Fei Ren would suddenly appear and resolve this life and death crisis. Father, if we really take this step, there will be no turning back. In my opinion, should we bide our time or use another method to contact the Chao family? After all, we almost exposed our whereabouts when we failed to kill Lin Shui and the rest. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xiaoshui's gaze was grave as he said, as a disciple of the Lin clan, colluding with an outsider was a grave crime in the clan. He and Lin Fen had colluded with an elder of the Chao clan for the sake of fighting for power in the clan. Once Lin Jinan and the others found out, the consequences would be severe. They might even be executed on the spot. As a result, Lin Xiaoshui felt some lingering fear. After all, he was still young and did not want to die in vain because of Lin Fen's ambition. However, the Heavenly Yuan Pool's baptism quota and the position of the future young master stimulated him, causing him to become restless. No need. Chao Zhang is a rank 2 martial master. Furthermore, his position among the Chao family's elders is not low. As long as he and I join forces, we will be able to contend against Lin Jinan. Moreover, I've already communicated with the Chao family. As long as we join forces to get rid of Lin Jinan, the Chao family will give you an additional baptism quota in the Heavenly Yuan Pool. That's enough. Now that the Lin family is weak, it will be difficult for you to fight against Chao Ling, Lu Xuanyu, and the others with your strength. Therefore, it is impossible for the Lin family to maintain its position as one of the 3 great families in Blackrock City. It is better to fight for one last chance and keep the goodies within the family. Lin Fen clenched his fists. His expression was cold as he spoke. To him, joining forces with outsiders to get rid of his elder brother Lin Jinan was not considered a traitor. The Lin family's interests would not be affected too much. As long as he could become the Lin family's master and Lin Xiaoshui could obtain a baptism quota in the Heavenly Yuan Pool, it would be worth it. As for Chao Zhang, he was a law enforcement elder of the Chao family. He held a high position and was second only to the Chao family's master and the first elder of the Chao family's disciplinary hall. He was very powerful. At the same time, Chao Zhang was an outsider whom Lin Fen had secretly contacted over the years. His goal was to seize power. Xiaoshui, my son, you will still participate in the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition in 3 months as a disciple of the Lin family. Moreover, this matter cannot be leaked. Otherwise, you and I will not be able to escape. As for the rest, I will arrange it. After making up his mind, Lin Fen turned around and looked at Lin Xiushui, who was still hesitating. He had painstakingly planned for many years for this son of his. Yes, father. Seeing that there was no room for negotiation, Lin Xiushui immediately cupped his hands together. His expression was solemn. Since they had already decided to betray the Lin family and collude with the Chao family's law enforcement elder Chao Zhang, there was no turning back. Everything would be revealed in the Heavenly Yuan pool competition in 3 months. Unknowingly, 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. The day of the Heavenly Yuan pool competition had finally arrived. Outside Black Rock City, in a desolate mountain range. Huff, huff. A gray figure swiftly flew across the air and landed steadily on a tree branch in a dense forest. It was as swift as a vigorous ape. It was Fei Run, who had been in seclusion for many days. However, Fei Ren's current appearance was a little dirty and messy. His clothes were tattered, as if he had not bathed for a long time. Only his eyes were still bright and spirited. Little Bai, go. With a light step, Fei Ren dashed out once again. At the same time, he swiped the spirit ring on his finger and instantly summoned a sinister white skeleton. The white skeleton was nearly 2 meters tall and held a sharp bone blade in its hand. Zong! Rumble! In that instant, the bone blade slashed out, accompanied by the white bone skeleton's light speed slash. A towering tree not far away that would require several people to wrap their arms around it also fell down. There was only a flat cut left on the tree trunk, bringing about a series of rumbling sounds. Amazing! My magical beast essence blood was not wasted. At the side, Fei Ren also grinned as he watched the white bone skeleton display its invincible might. His face was filled with joy. The power of the white skeleton's casual slash was close to that of LV1 Martial Master Expert. It had basically recovered its original strength. After all, 3 months ago, it was personally crippled by Fei Ren and almost turned into a skeleton. As for these 3 months, in addition to taking care of his own cultivation, Fei Ren also did not neglect the repair of the white skeletons. From time to time, he would kill some high-level magical beasts and use the magical beast essence blood to refine the white skeleton. After spending a lot of effort, he finally successfully repaired the white skeleton and restored it to its peak state. As for how to make this white skeleton stronger, it was related to Fei Ren's own skill in puppetry and the degree of refining his blood essence. After all, for a cultivator who controlled puppets to fight, it was inevitable that they would spend a lot of energy and resources to refine a powerful puppet. Little Bai, come back! With a thought, Fei Ren shouted again. Kala! Kala! As soon as his voice fell, the white skeleton not far away seemed to have received some kind of command. It immediately retracted its bone blade and returned to Fei Ren's side in a flash. It stood still like a dead skeleton specimen. It was strange and somewhat peculiar. Chapter 323. This white skeleton had now become one of Fei Ren's trump cards. He had also given it a very clever name, Whitey. Although Whitey's strength was not very strong and was only comparable to a human level, one martial master expert, Fei Ren was very confident that he could refine it into a stronger puppet in the future. When he comprehended the lost fragment of the 9 puppet arts and obtained enough blood essence, it was not impossible for Whitey's strength to transform. After all, his Dantian had fused with the immortal refining divine Cauldron, an immortal treasure. Fei Ren's talent and comprehension were not comparable to the White Bone Elder. Although the White Bone Elder could not cultivate the 9 puppet arts successfully, he could. It's time to go back. 3 months is just right. With a wave of his hand, the white skeleton in front of him was put back into the spirit ring. In the next moment, Fei Ren exhaled and flew in the direction of Black Rock City. After 3 months of closed-door cultivation, his origin power cultivation had finally stabilized at level 8-star realm. In addition, the white bone skeleton had also been successfully repaired by Fei Ren, and it had become one of his great battle forces. As for the Dharma Fist, although he had not stepped into the realm of great success, he had already mastered it to the point of perfection, and its power had increased by a lot. The Dharma Fist was a martial art that Fei Ren had comprehended after cultivating the Dharma Thousand Transformation technique. Its upper limit was very high. It was comparable to a level 5 martial art at the initial mastery stage. If it broke through to complete mastery stage, its power would be comparable to a level 7 martial art. Other than the Dharma Fist that had made some progress, the great law of flying heaven and burrowing earth had already reached complete mastery stage. As for the Spirit Blade martial art, it was the same. Although the Spirit Blade only had the power of a level 3 martial art and Fei Ren rarely used it, he did not give up on cultivating this martial art because it was an attack on the spirit level. He planned to use it as a strange move. To put it bluntly, Fei Ren's current strength was comparable to a true level 2 martial master expert. Among the young geniuses of Black Rock City, aside from the eldest daughter of the Chao family, Chao Ling, no one else was worthy of his full strength. Hence, Fei Ren was determined to win the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition. As long as the Lin family did not drag them down too much, and the group of young disciples suffered a complete defeat, Fei Ren was confident that he would be able to maintain the Lin family's position as one of the 3 great clans. In fact, he might even be able to compete with the Chao family for the top spot. Black Rock City, in a valley outside the Heavenly Yuan Lake. The valley was overflowing with spirit qi, and a huge spring appeared in the middle of its depths. The vast, ice-cold spring water emitted wisps of cold qi and gushed down, splashing circles of water. The surroundings were picturesque scenery. It seemed to be the forbidden area that the 3 great clans had sent people to guard all year round, the Heavenly Yuan Lake. At this moment, several different groups of people had stopped outside the Heavenly Yuan Lake. The leaders of these groups all had majestic auras, indicating that they had reached the martial master level. They were the upper echelons of the 3 great clans, and seemed to be silently waiting for something. The Heavenly Yuan Lake was one of the most important treasured grounds in Black Rock City. Its spring water contained an abundance of Yuan power from heaven and earth. After absorbing it, it could substantially raise a practitioner's Yuan power cultivation and even strengthen one's body. Hence, it had always been highly valued by the 3 great clans, and could even be said to be heavily guarded. Hence, besides the experts from the 3 great clans who were responsible for guarding the Heavenly Yuan Lake, ordinary people were not allowed to approach the valley. If not for the fact that today was the day of the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition, Fei Ren, an outsider, would not have been able to catch a glimpse of their faces. Moments later, Fei Ren hurriedly arrived at the valley where the Heavenly Yuan Lake was located. He had a pass given to him by the Lin family, so he was not stopped along the way. "Brother Fei, you're finally here. I never imagined that your strength would increase again." In front of the Lin family's group, Lin Shuai stepped forward and greeted Fei Ren when he saw him arrive. After not seeing him for 3 months, he vaguely sensed that Lin Shuai's Yuan power aura had become much stronger. It seemed that Lin Shuai had broken through to the 8th level of the Star Realm. "He is indeed a genius," Lin Shuai exclaimed in his heart as he swept his gaze over Fei Ren. He was now more confident about this Heavenly Yuan Pool competition. After all, Fei Ren's Yuan power cultivation was only at the 7th level of the Star Realm, but he could easily kill the 2nd chief of the Black Cloud Stronghold, who was at the 10th level of the Star Realm. Now that he had broken through again, his strength would naturally increase by another level. "Brother Lin, it seems that your strength has also increased." Fei Ren nodded in response to Lin Shuai's courteous greeting with a faint smile. As the young master of the Lin family, Lin Shuai's strength had also increased rapidly during this period of time. He had stepped into the half-step martial master realm and was only a step away from the 1st level of the martial master realm. As one of the 3 geniuses of Black Rock City, although Lin Shuai's talent was slightly inferior to Fei Ren's, he was definitely not weak when compared to other cultivators of the same level. If he had enough cultivation resources, he could easily break through to the martial master realm. At the very least, Among the younger generation of Black Rock City, other than Lu Xuanyu and Chao Ling, none of the other young geniuses would be a match for him. So this guy is Fei Run. On the other side, Lin Xiushui, who was beside Lin Fun, narrowed his eyes when he saw Lin Shuai and Fei Run greeting each other. A trace of viciousness flashed across his eyes. Although the father and son had secretly planned to join forces with outsiders to get rid of Lin Jinan, Fei Run was still a variable. They had to be vigilant. Moreover, Fei Ren had taken away his spot in the heavenly Yuan pool baptism. Naturally, Lin Xiushui was filled with resentment. Xiushui, don't worry and prepare for the battle. This guy's Yuan power cultivation is only at the 8th level of the Star Realm. He can't do anything and won't affect my plan. Perhaps sensing Lin Xiushui's strange behavior, Lin Fen frowned slightly and secretly transmitted his voice to his father. After all, Lin Jinan was also present at this moment. If Lin Jinan noticed anything unusual and caused their plan to be exposed, then the father and son duo would really be in deep trouble. Lin Jinan was the head of the Lin family after all. He was a veteran expert at the 3rd level of the Martial Master Realm. Lin Fen alone was not a match for him. When Fei Ren arrived at the valley, the young geniuses of the Chao family and the Lu family had also arrived. Among them, Lu Xuanyu, Chao Ling, and a few others were at the front of the group. Their auras were imposing. Obviously, they were very confident about the heavenly Yuan pool competition and had been waiting for a long time. Brother Lin, Brother Lu, it seems that almost everyone is here. It's time for the heavenly Yuan pool competition to begin. At this moment, a black-robed elder from the Chao clan stepped forward, after which his eyes swept around as he spoke in a faint voice. The black-robed old man's Yuan power aura was very powerful. He had already reached the 4th level of the Martial Master Realm, which was more powerful than Lin Jinan's. He had white hair on both sides of his ears. The Chao family disciples looked at him with great respect. He was the current head of the Chao family, Chao Chuanwu. Although the Chao family's foundation was the strongest among the 3 great families, the Lin and Lu families were still part of the 3 great families. Moreover, they were both 8th-rank families. They still had to give each other some face. However, secretly, Chao Chuanwu did not think much of the Lin and Lu families. In his opinion, the Chao family was the only overlord of Black Rock City and had the chance to become a 7th-rank family in the future. Every dog has its day. As for the Lin family's glorious past as a 7th-rank family, it had long become history. Chapter 3:24. Brother Chao is right. If there are no objections, we can begin. As soon as he finished speaking, a yellow-robed man walked out of the Lu family's team. He had thick eyebrows and black eyes. He had a sharp, numinous treasure-long saber at his waist. There was a big Lu character embroidered on the left side of his chest. At this moment, he was crossing his arms and looking straight at Chao Chuanwu, who was not far away. Then let's begin. Same old rules. Lin Jinan glanced at the yellow-robed man in front of the Lin family's team and nodded silently. His opponent was the current head of the Lu family, Lu Shentong. At the same time, he was also one of Lin Jinan's sworn enemies. Although the 3 families seemed to be harmonious on the surface, and there were no large-scale conflicts, there were many secret conflicts. Due to the joint suppression of the Chao and Lu families, the Lin family's current situation was not good. It was deteriorating day by day. Hence, Lin Jinan did not have a good impression of Lu Shentong or Chao Chuanwu. He was always on guard against their actions. On the surface, the heavenly Yuan pool competition was a competition between the younger generation of the various forces. However, it was also a direct confrontation between the 3 great clans. The winner would not only be able to divide the heavenly Yuan pool, but also obtain greater benefits in the territory of Black Rock City. It's finally begun. Seeing that the competition had begun, Fei Ren and the Lin family's team let out a sigh of relief. His eyes were full of fighting spirit. The heavenly Yuan pool competition, this time, was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him. Although his origin power cultivation had just broken through to the 8th level of the Star Realm, if he could enter the heavenly yuan pool and soak in the spring water that was rich in spirit chi, he could still break through again. The rules of the heavenly yuan pool competition were simple. The three forces would each send 5 geniuses to duel. The winner could continue to duel. There was no limit to the number of duels. At the same time, he would be awarded a victory point. The loser would leave immediately without a chance to participate in the revival round. The rules were very strict. Hence, every victory was very important. Basically, everyone had to give it their all. There was no room for failure. The Heavenly Yuan Lei competition was divided into 2 rounds. In the first round, the 2nd and 3rd rank clans would fight each other. After the 2 clans had determined the final winner, the winner's clan would challenge the previous champion's clan. Since the Chao clan was the champion of the previous Heavenly Yuan Pool competition, they were exempted from the first round of battle. The first round of battle was between the Lu clan and the Lin clan. There were a total of 5 geniuses from the Lin clan. Apart from Lin Shuai, whom Fei Ren knew, and Lin Xiushe, who was the son of the Great Elder, Fei Ren didn't know about the other 2. They were a young man and a young woman. They seemed to be from a branch of the Lin clan, and their cultivations were just passable. Both of them had reached the 8th level of the Star Realm. As far as the eye could see, there were 2 battle stages in the middle of the valley, one on the left and one on the right. 2 battles could be held at the same time. As for Fei Ren, the external aide of the Lin clan, he was assigned to the rightmost battle stage. He kept a low profile and did not attract too much attention. At this moment, apart from the members of the 3 major clans, there were also some higher-ups from various forces in Blackrock City who had been invited to watch the battle. There was no lack of martial men or experts among them. At this moment, most of them were sitting quietly not far from the battle stage. Their gazes fell on the younger generation of the 3 major clans. It seems that the Lin clan is short on talents. 3 of them are at the 8th level of the Star Realm, and 1 is at the 10th level of the Star Realm. Even Lin Shuai is only a half step to the martial men realm. Not to mention the Chao clan, even a slightly weaker Lu clan is no match for them. A middle-aged man at the 1st level of the martial mentor realm said while shaking his head. He was the leader of the Flying Dragon sect, named Wang Qua. Although the Flying Dragon sect was not as powerful as the 3 major clans, it was still a quasi-8th level force near Blackrock City. It had thousands of members, including many warriors at the high level of the Star Realm. Therefore, he had been specially invited by the 3 major clans to watch the battle and comment on it. TSK, Old Wang, you spoke too early. Although the Lin clan has declined, Lu Xuanyu from the Lu clan is only a half step to the martial mentor realm. He is not much stronger than Lin Shuai. However, the overall strength of the younger generation of the Lu clan is slightly stronger. It's hard to say who will win. As soon as Wang Qua finished speaking, a plain-clothed old man beside him grinned and laughed sinisterly. His yuan power cultivation was similar to Wang Qua's. He was also a higher-up from a quasi-8th level force. The only difference was that the plain-clothed old man did not come alone. Behind him was a half-step to the martial mentor realm young man, who seemed to be his disciple. TSK, let's just watch. After all, we are only here to watch the show. The Heavenly Yuan Pool is still guarded by the 3 major clans. No matter what the result of the battle is, we won't gain any advantage. Wang Qua glanced at the plain-clothed old man beside him and shrugged. He then said indifferently, as if he did not care. While Wang Qua and the plain-clothed old man were conversing, the atmosphere in the nearby battle arena was heated. The battle had officially begun. On the left side of the battle arena, a black-clothed man stood quietly. Opposite him was a young disciple of the Lu clan. Although his appearance was ordinary, his yuan power aura was extraordinary. He had reached the 9th level of the Star Realm. At this moment, he was holding a black iron mace in his hand. It seemed to be his natal soul treasure. Lu clan, Luan, please enlighten me. The young disciple named Luan raised the black iron mace in his hand and pointed it at the black-clothed man opposite him. The next moment, he spoke with a cold and solemn expression. Because every victory in the Heavenly Yuan pool battle was very valuable, he did not dare to be careless. He planned to use all his strength to defeat his opponent and win a precious point for the Liu clan. Lin clan branch, Lin Wan Quan. Compared to Luin, the black-clothed man's Yuan power fluctuations were weaker. He was only at the 9th level of the Star Realm. Moreover, he was an unfamiliar face to Fei Ren. Clearly, he was from a branch of the Lin clan and was not a direct descendant. There is a difference of 1 level between their realms. If there is no cultivation method or martial arts to suppress him, it will be difficult for this guy to win. At this moment, Fei Ren rubbed his chin. His gaze fell on the battle arena, not far away. He seemed to be watching the battle and pondering. His judgment was not baseless. Compared to Liu and of the Liu clan, Lin Wan Quan, a branch disciple of the Lin clan, did not have any advantage in terms of strength. Not only was his realm lower, but he was also from a branch of the Lin clan. Naturally, his cultivation method and martial arts were not as good as a direct descendant's. It would not be easy for him to win. However, the only consolation was that there was a rule in the Heavenly Yuan pool that forbade anyone from killing. Even if Lin Wan Quan lost the battle and lost this precious point, the Lin clan would still be able to retain its core strength. It was just that they would not be able to maintain their position as one of the 3 major clans in Blackrock City. I hope Lin Wan Quan can unleash his potential. If he defeats Liu In, our Lin clan's chances of winning will increase. On the other side, Lin Shuai's expression was also solemn. Although his opponent was only a branch disciple of the Lin clan, he also carried the Lin clan's reputation. Both of them were bound together for good or ill. Chapter 325. In the arena, Luin was in high spirits. I won't show any mercy. Glancing lightly at Lin Wan Quan, Liu In's figure flew out in the next moment. At the same time, he raised his hand and blasted out a palm strike towards Lin Wanchuan's chest. Instantly, a wave of air spread out, creating quite a commotion. Come on! Seeing Liu In's attack, Lin Wan Quan took a deep breath. He immediately stomped on the ground and channeled his Yuan power to meet Liu In's attack. His Yuan power cultivation was slightly weaker than Liu An's. If he fought a protracted battle, he would be at a disadvantage. Therefore, Lin Wanchuan's idea was very simple. End the battle quickly. Only in this way would he have a chance to defeat Liu In and win the Heavenly Yuan pool competition for the Lin clan. Bang! In an instant, the fist and palm collided. A huge Yuan power shockwave spread out around the arena, causing a rumbling sound. Swish! Swish! In the arena, figures flickered. Borrowing the aftershock of this collision, Lin Wanchuan's figure also fell to the back. He retreated dozens of steps before coming to a stop. On the other hand, Liu on the opposite side only retreated half a step. The difference in strength could be seen at a glance. Looks like Lin Wan Quan is going to lose. After all, the difference in cultivation is obvious. Seeing that Lin Wan Quan was pushed back by Liu An's attack, a Liu clan disciple said in a playful tone. Although the Liu clan might not be able to defeat the Chao clan in the Heavenly Yuan pool competition, in his opinion, it was more than enough to beat the Lin clan. Moreover, 2 months ago, the Liu clan's young master, Liu Xuanyu, had stepped into the half-step martial master realm. Liu Xuanyu had many trump cards and killer moves. His overall strength was no weaker than an ordinary LV1 martial master. Therefore, not only the younger generation of the Liu clan, but also the current Liu clan master, Liu Shantong, was extremely confident that the Liu clan would at least take 2nd place in the Heavenly Yuan pool competition. Liu's Raging Fire Palm. In the arena, after pushing Lin Wan Quan back, Luin took advantage of the opportunity to attack. Once again, he channeled his majestic Yuan power and blasted out an extremely cold Yuan power palm force. Boom! The palm energy was surrounded by a large amount of flame shadows. The wind helped the fire, and the power was hard to block. It was obviously a rank 4 martial art, and it had been cultivated to perfection. Not only was this palm imbued with origin power, but it was also imbued with Lu En's comprehension of martial arts. Thus, the palm imbued with a virtual image of flames that was almost tangible. As a result, its power was even greater than before, and it was enough to instantly kill any cultivator below the 8th level of the Star Realm. Perfect stage of the Raging Inferno Palm. Looks like Lu En's strength has improved quite a bit. In the spectator's stands, Lu Shintong crossed his arms and nodded silently. As the current head of the Lu clan, if the Lu clan's disciples perform better in the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition, not only would they be able to obtain more benefits and a place to enter the Heavenly Yuan Pool's baptism, but they would also be able to maintain their reputation. Not good. Earth Barrier. At this moment, facing Lu En's powerful attack, Lin Wanchuan's expression changed slightly. He immediately slammed his palms on the ground beneath his feet, and a large amount of origin power swept out. He summoned a thick wall of earth that was several feet tall, intending to block Lu En's palm. This earth barrier was his unique skill. Although it was only a quasi-rank 4 martial art, its defensive power was comparable to a real rank 4 martial art. Ordinary cultivators of the same rank would not be able to break through it. Therefore, Lin Wanquan was confident that he could block Lu En's palm. However, he had miscalculated. He had underestimated the power of his opponent's full-powered palm. Boom! In a breath of time, the raging flame palm ruthlessly smashed onto the thick earth wall. In the next moment, the Yuan power exploded, and the originally indestructible thick earth wall also cracked open like a spider web. In the end, it collapsed with a loud bang, turning into dust on the ground. What? How could this be? Seeing that his defense had been breached, Lin Wanchuan's face turned pale. Bang! Before he could even react, the remaining power of the raging flame palm had already reached him through the air and ruthlessly smashed into his chest. Puffed! Lin Wanquan spat out a mouthful of blood. In the next moment, the aura on his body withered, and he fell to the ground. He had completely lost the ability to fight. At this point, less than 15 minutes had passed since the start of the battle, and he had already lost. Lost? Not far away. The members of the Lin family who were watching the battle, including Lin Jinan, had different expressions on their faces. Although there was a gap of 1 level between the two of them, the members of the Lin family had never imagined that Lin Wanquan, who was at level 8 Star Realm, would be defeated so thoroughly. Damn it! On the side, Lin Shuai's face was also gloomy, and he clenched his fists. At first, according to his calculations, even if Lin Wanquan lost, he would not be in such a sorry state. At least, he would be able to fight with Lu and on the stage for a long time. However, reality was cruel. Not only was there a gap in their cultivation levels, but there was also a gap in their mastery of martial arts. Therefore, Lin Wanquan was easily defeated by Lu, and due to the rules of the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition, the loser would not be able to continue participating in the following matches. Now that the Lin family had lost a point, the pressure on Lin Shuai and the rest would be as heavy as a mountain. Perhaps only Fei Run, the external aid of the Lin family, will be able to put them at ease. However, if the other members of the Lin family were all defeated, even Fei Run would not be able to fight against so many people. After all, Fei Run's cultivation was only at level 8 Star Realm. Although he was extremely powerful, the Yuan energy in his Dantian was limited. Continuously fighting against the geniuses of the Lu family had consumed a lot of his Yuan energy. According to the rules of the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition, there was no such thing as a break. Swoosh! After defeating his opponent, Luin jumped off the stage and returned to the Lu family's team. At the same time, he heard Lu Xuanyu's faint smile. Luin, good job. Thank you for your compliment, young clan leader. I don't deserve it. Luin cupped his hands in greeting. He was a little flattered by Lu Xuanyu's praise. Although he was a direct descendant of the Lu family, he was much weaker than Lu Xuanyu in terms of strength and status. He was even weaker than Lu Yunying, who had one of his hands crippled by Fei Ren. Naturally, he did not dare to claim credit. In the Liu family, only the descendants of Liu Shintong's first wife had the right to enjoy the best cultivation resources. Luan, on the other hand, was only a descendant of the second wife. Although he was also a direct descendant, he was not that important. Everyone present knew that in the eyes of Liu Shintong, only Liu Xuanyu and Liu Yunying were important. The others were not worth mentioning. If Liu Yunying had not been crippled by Fei Run and was still recovering from his injuries, which greatly reduced his combat strength, he would not have been absent from the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition. Well, my opponents are Lin Shuai and Fei Run. As for the others, I'll leave them to you guys, Liu Xuanyu nodded. His gaze then fell on Lin Shuai and Fei Run, who were not far away. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. As the young clan leader of the Lin family, Lin Shuai had been his sworn enemy for many years. As for Fei Run, who had appeared out of nowhere, it was the same. Not only had Lin Shuai crippled one of Liu Yunying's younger brother's hands, but he had also been ruthless. Therefore, Liu Xuanyu could not let go of his grudge. He planned to ignore the rules of the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition and kill Fei Run with his own hands to vent his anger. Chapter 326. At the same time, although Lin Wanquan was defeated, the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition continued. Next round, Lin Yu versus Liu Yuhong. A middle-aged man in a martial robe stepped forward and announced as he looked around. He seemed to be the judge of the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition. He was also a member of the three great clans and only followed the rules. Swoosh! A green figure flew onto the stage as his voice faded. The green figure was a young lady with a beautiful appearance. Her figure was extremely graceful, and she was a rare beauty. She instantly attracted the fiery gazes of the surrounding warriors of the opposite sex. Lin Yu, a branch disciple of the Lin clan, was also one of the 5 contestants from the Lin clan in the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition. It's Miss Lin Yu from the Lin clan. Liu Yuhong is really lucky to be able to fight with such a beauty. Seeing Lin Yu on the stage, the eyes of several young disciples of the Liu clan lit up. Then they began to discuss with envy. In their eyes, Lin Yu's appearance was more worthy of attention than her strength. After all, Lin Yu's origin power cultivation was about the same as Lin Wanquan's. They were both at the 8th level of the Star Realm. Compared to the younger generation of the Liu clan, she could only be considered average. Beauty, I'm Liu Yuhong. Please go easy on me. Below the stage, a young man in a tight suit also flew up and cupped his hands at Lin Yu, who was standing not far away. The young man's name was Liu Yuhong. Although he was only a son of a concubine of the Liu family, he also had the same thought in his heart. He thought that Lin Yu was just a vase with a pretty face. As for her strength, she was not very strong and could be easily defeated. How dare he look down on Lin Yu? This guy is courting death. At this moment, the defeated Lin Wanquan had also returned to the Lin family's team. His face was a little pale. At the same time, he took out a healing pill from his spirit ring and swallowed it. He looked at Liu Yuhong with eyes full of resentment. Although he was a branch disciple of the Lin clan like Lin Yu and had similar cultivation, Lin Yu's overall strength was much stronger than his. However, in terms of overall strength, Lin Yu was much stronger than him. In the entire Lin family, she was second only to Lin Shuai and Lin Xiushui. Even if she was no match for Liu Xuanyu, she was not someone a mere concubine's son could challenge. On the battle stage, Lin Yu looked at the smiling Liu Yuhong with a cold expression. In the next moment, she waved her hand and a sharp, emerald green sword appeared. It seemed to be a spirit treasure of good quality. Green bamboo, sword technique. Lin Yu swung her long sword horizontally and instantly slashed out an aquamarine sword chi. Then, the sword chi swept out like bamboo and immediately strangled toward Liu Yuhong opposite her. Quasi-level 5 martial arts. Facing Lin Yu's sudden attack, Liu Yuhong's expression changed slightly. Whoosh! Boom! However, before he could react, the sword chi that filled the sky attacked him. Bang! Accompanied by an explosion, Lu Yuhong was sent flying out of the arena in the next moment. At the same time, he fell hard on his face, looking very miserable. The entire battle took less than a minute. Lin Yu wins. Seeing that Lu Yuhong was defeated, the middle-aged man in charge of the referee was stunned and immediately announced the result. Whether it was Luin from before or Lin Yu in front of him, both of them basically killed their opponents with a single move in a clean and efficient manner. The referee had gradually gotten used to it. Defeated by a girl? What a good-for-nothing. On the other side, Lu Xuanyu's face darkened and became a little gloomy when he saw that Lu Yuhong was defeated at the speed of light. Lu Yuhong had been boasting on the battle stage, but in the next moment, he was sent flying by Lin Yu's sword. Such a huge contrast embarrassed the Lu family and made them feel rather embarrassed and humiliated. Fortunately, Luin had won the first battle, so the Lu family had already won 1 point. Now, even if Lu Yuhong was defeated, the score would still be 1-1. This time, the Heavenly Yuan Lei competition was back to the starting line. The little girl from the Lin family is quite strong, but she is no match for Lu Xuanyu. If the Lin family wants to win the second battle, it will probably depend on Lin Shuai. In the spectator area, Wang Kuo, the leader of the Flying Dragon sect, stroked his chin and looked at the battle stage not far away with interest. As a martial master, although Wang Kuo did not care about the battles of the High Star Realm Juniors, he was invited to watch the battle as a show of respect to the 3 major families. After all, the 3 major families had a strong influence in Black Rock City, second only to the Black Rock City branch of the World Chamber of Commerce. According to my calculations, if the Lu family loses another point in the next battle, Lu Xuanyu should go on the battle stage. At that time, Lin Shuai from the Lin family should also fight. Compared to the battles of the others, the battle between these 2 kids should be much more exciting. As soon as he finished speaking, the plain-clothed old man next to Wang Kuo chuckled and spoke. Obviously, he was also paying attention to the battle. Lin Yu, well done. When Lin Shuai returned to the Lin family's team, he looked at Lin Yu with relief and nodded. If Lu Xuanyu could win this battle and get back a point for the Lin family, the pressure and burden on him would lessen. After all, Lu Xuanyu was now a half-step martial master and was one of the 3 geniuses of Black Rock City. Lin Shuai did not dare to say that he could defeat Lu Xuanyu in a head-on battle. At most, they would have a 50% chance of winning. You're too kind, young patriarch. The following opponents will only get stronger. It won't be easy for our Lin family to win and maintain our position as one of the 3 major families. Lin Yu was very calm in the face of Lin Shuai's praise. She knew very well that the defeated Lu Yuhong was only a son of a concubine in the Lu family. His strength was ordinary between LV8 and LV9 High Star Realm. Lu Xuanyu and the other direct descendants of the Lu family had yet to fight. They were the main force of the Heavenly Yuan Lake competition. Now that the Lin family had only won 1 point, if they lost the next 4 battles, they would still be at the bottom of the rankings. Therefore, Lin Yu did not let down her guard. That makes sense. However, if Qiu Shuai can win 1 more point, we have a great chance of winning this competition. Lin Shuai nodded and looked at Lin Qiu Shuai, who had his arms crossed and was silent. Lin Qiu Shuai was first Elder Lin Fun's son. His strength was second only to Lin Shuai, and he would play an important role in this Heavenly Yuan Lei competition. Big brother Qiu Shuai has also reached LV10 High Star Realm. It shouldn't be a problem. Lin Yu did not deny it, but her eyes flashed. I can deal with the rest, except for Lu Xuanyu. Lin Qiu Shuai, who had been silent for a long time, finally spoke when he saw Lin Shuai and Lin Yu looking at him. However, his eyes were cold and indifferent. No one knew what he was thinking. Oh, this guy doesn't seem to care about the Lin family's victory. Fei Ren also narrowed his eyes when he saw the coldness and strangeness in Lin Qiu Shuai's eyes. He was puzzled. Although Lin Qiu Shuai was also a genius of a younger generation representing the Lin family, he did not seem to care. Lin Qiu Shuai was not the only one. First Elder Lin Fun was the same. He also looked cold and indifferent, as if he did not have much of a reaction to Lin Yu's victory. Could it be that this guy is angry because I took one of his spots? Fei Ren retracted his thoughts and shifted his gaze back to the arena. The competition in the Heavenly Yuan pool was still in full swing at this moment. Chapter 327. Due to the Heavenly Yuan Lake's winning streak rule, the Lin clan sent Lin Yu for the next match. On the other hand, the Lu clan sent a yellow-robed young man. Lu clan, Lu Cheng. He leaped onto the stage and saw that the yellow-robed young man had a thin face and spirited eyes. He seemed to be one of the direct descendants of the Lu clan. His origin energy cultivation was also higher than Lu Yuhong's. He had reached the 9th level of the Star Realm, which was similar to Lu An's. Make your move. Lin Yu raised the emerald sword in her hand. She did not intend to waste any time. Her opponent's cultivation was 1 level higher than hers. Moreover, he was a direct descendant of the Lu clan. His combat power was even stronger than Lu Yuhong's. It would be difficult for her to win this match, so she went all out. Wind-breaking palm. Lu Cheng's body flashed and disappeared from a spot. At the same time, he raised his hand and blasted toward Lin Yu. Boom! His palm was infused with Yuan power. It landed in front of Lin Yu in an instant, accompanied by an ear-piercing sound. It seemed to be quite powerful. Clang! Boom! With a slight flick of her wrist, Lin Yu did not hesitate in the face of Lu Cheng's powerful palm strike. Her long sword swept across the air and met the opponent's palm strike head-on. In the next moment, sword, chi, and palm energy exploded, and the two figures were pushed back. They were evenly matched. Seeing this scene, the spectators not far away had different expressions. Although Lin Yu's cultivation was 1 level higher than Lu Cheng's, Lu Cheng clearly did not have the upper hand in this exchange. It was enough to show that Lin Yu was not weak. Sister, it seems that Lin Yu's strength is not bad. She has a trace of your demeanor back then. She can actually fight Lu Cheng to a draw. If they were at the same level, Lu Cheng would not be her match. In front of the Chao clan's team, a black-haired young man in a blue robe was also surprised. He then looked at Chao Ling and sighed. I say, Xiao Huan, don't tell me you've taken a fancy to him. The Lin clan can't wait for our Chao clan to fall. Chao Ling turned her gaze and looked at the black-haired young man in a blue robe. The corners of her mouth curled up, and her tone was somewhat playful. His name was Chao Huan, and he was her younger brother. At the same time, he had a high status in the Chao family and was doted on by Chao Chuanwu. His cultivation had reached the half-step martial mentor realm, and he was not inferior to Lu Xuanyu and Lin Shui at all. However, compared to the other two, Chao Huan was a rising star. His cultivation had just broken through not long ago, so his reputation wasn't as great as Lin Shui and Lu Xuanyu's. Moreover, he had always kept a low profile. Otherwise, Black Rock City would have 4 great geniuses instead of just 3. Cough, cough, sister, what are you talking about? I'm just admiring you as a martial artist of the same generation. Speaking of which, the Lin clan used to be a 7th-rank clan. They dominated Black Rock City and were invincible. I really don't know what happened to the Lin clan back then. The experts in the Lin clan are getting worse and worse with each generation until they've fallen to their current state. Among the younger generation of the Lin family, other than Lin Shui, none of them are worthy of the title. Chao Huan let out a dry cough and scratched his head. There was a hint of sadness in his tone, as if he knew a little about the Lin clan's past. Unlike Chao Ling, the eldest daughter of the Chao clan, he was just a young man who was addicted to martial arts. He only wanted to cultivate Yuan power and martial arts, and was not interested in the power struggle between the 3 great clans. Therefore, when he saw the Lin clan being suppressed by his own clan and the Lu clan, Chao Huan felt a little sympathy for them. However, the world of martial artists had always followed the law of the jungle. Only the fittest survived. Although he sympathized with the Lin clan, Chao Huan still wouldn't hold back in the Heavenly Yuan pool competition. His only belief was to defeat his opponent. Don't think about such meaningless things. When the Lin clan and the Lu clan have finished their battle, it will be our turn next. Chao Ling lightly lifted her jade-like hand and knocked Chao Huan's head. Her expression was still calm and composed. The demeanor of a lady from a respectable family was apparent at a glance. Her temperament was extraordinary. The battle was still going on in the arena. Green bamboo, sword technique. Lin Yu shouted as her sword soared across the sky. Countless green sword chi slashed out and swept towards Lu Cheng. It was like the autumn wind sweeping away fallen leaves, full of momentum. Lin Yu, you alone can't defeat me. Lu Cheng's figure did not retreat when faced with the large amount of sword chi that assaulted him. Instead, he moved forward. At the same time, he spread his hands outwards and instantly condensed a thick and heavy yuan energy barrier. It enveloped an area of several tens of meters around him, and it seemed indestructible. Bang! Rumble! The sword chi that filled the sky smashed onto the yuan power barrier, creating waves of sparks and flying stars. At the same time, there was a deafening sound. Although Lin Yu's sword technique was powerful, Lu Cheng's defense was not bad either. One attacked while the other defended. It was hard to tell who would emerge victorious. Damn it! Why is this guy's tortoise shell so hard? Lin Yu's long sword was in front of her. At this moment, her beautiful brows were slightly furrowed as hot sweat dripped down her pretty face. After a long period of attacks, the yuan power in her body had been greatly depleted. This was not a good thing. Unfortunately, it looks like Lin Yu is going to lose. Below the stage, Fei Ren rubbed his chin as he watched Lin Yu's pretty face dripping with sweat. He had a thoughtful expression on his face. As the saying goes, the onlooker sees the game clearly. As a bystander, he had a very clear view of this battle. Although the battle between Lin Yu and Lu Cheng was still evenly matched, there was not much yuan left in Lin Yu's body. On the other hand, Lu Cheng was still holding back. If Lin Yu could not end the battle in a short time, she would definitely lose. Lin Yu, don't force yourself. Even if you lose another battle, our Lin family still has a chance at this moment. Not only Fei Ren, but Lin Jinan also seemed to have noticed that Lin Yu's yuan power was running out. He immediately transmitted a message to her in a serious tone. As the current head of the Lin family, Lin Jinan's thoughts were very simple. Even if they could not maintain their position as one of the three great families in the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition, nothing could happen to Lin Yu and the other young geniuses of the Lin family. Lin Yu, Lin Shuai, and the others were the future elites and hope of the Lin family. If anything happened to them, the Lin family would not be able to recover. Although there was a rule against killing in the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition, Lin Jinan was not at ease. The Lu family had always been one of their sworn enemies. There was no guarantee that they would do something crazy. Moreover, the head of the Lu family, Lu Shantong, was watching from the side. Even if Lu Cheng were to kill them on the stage, Lin Jinan would not be able to save them immediately. Lu Shantong would definitely stop him halfway. Once this fuse was lit, it would no longer be a competition in the Heavenly Yuan Pool, but a direct battle between the Lin and Lu families. I admit defeat. On the stage, Lin Yu's pretty face was filled with reluctance. However, she still listened to Lin Jinan's advice. She cupped her hands and admitted defeat, taking the initiative to give up 1 point. She has already lost 2 battles. Lin Yu is still running out of energy. Looks like I have to make a move. In front of the Lin family team, Lin Shuai clenched his fists tightly when he saw Lin Yu take the initiative to admit defeat. His eyes were filled with determination. Now that he had stepped into the half-step martial master realm, other than Lu Xuanyu of the Lu family, the other opponents were no threat to him. Young master, please wait. Let me go for the next battle. However, seeing that Lin Shuai was about to fight, Lin Xiuxia suddenly stepped forward and extended her hand to stop him. Her face was still cold. Chapter 328. Xiuxia, Lin Shuai was stunned when he saw Lin Xiuxia volunteering. Lin Jinan had already given Fei Ren the Heavenly Yuan Pool baptism quota. Lin Shuai was also aware of this matter. Initially, Lin Shuai was worried that Fei Ren would be dissatisfied with this. However, It seemed that Lin Xiushui was still going to participate in the battle. It seemed that he had overthought it. Okay, remember, don't underestimate your opponent. Lin Shui felt ashamed when he thought of this. He nodded and reminded Lin Xiushui. Lin Xiushui's strength was second only to him among the younger generation of the Lin family. Now that he had reached High Star Realm level 10, he would have no problem defeating Lu Cheng. Moreover, Lu Cheng's origin power cultivation was only at the 9th level of the Star Realm, so he was most likely no match for Lin Xiushui. Therefore, the Lin clan could very likely take this precious 1 point of victory. By then, the Lin clan would have 2 wins and 2 losses, and they would be tied with the Lu clan again. Swoosh! Lin Xiushui did not respond to Lin Shui's words. He leaped onto the stage and looked at Lu Cheng, who was not far away. Although I've lost my spot in the Heaven Origin Pool, I'm not useless. Today, I'll show you my strength. Lin Xiushui clenched his fists as he thought to himself. His eyes were full of fighting spirit. According to his father, Lin Fun, as long as Chao family's elder, Chao Zhang, could join forces with him to kill Lin Jinan after the Heaven Origin Pool competition, the father and son would be able to control the Lin family completely. At the same time, they would be rewarded with a spot in the Heaven Origin Pool baptism. However, Lin Xiushui had another plan in mind. Not only did he want to win, but he also wanted to win consecutively to prove that he was not weaker than Fei Run or anyone else. This had become his obsession. If he could not overcome this obstacle, it would become an obstacle in his martial path in the future. Lin Xiushui, it's you. I didn't expect you to have reached High Star Realm level 10. Lu Cheng took a deep breath as he looked at Lin Xiushui, who was full of fighting spirit. His face was solemn. Both of them were direct descendants of their respective families. Moreover, the Lin family and the Lu family were not on good terms. Naturally, they had met each other before. However, what Lu Cheng didn't expect was that Lin Xiushui's strength could still improve further. Her cultivation of origin energy had reached the 10th level of the Star Realm. Another tough battle. Strands of Yuan power once again gushed out. Lu Cheng also assumed a fighting stance, as he quietly said in his heart. Although he had just defeated Lin Yu, he had used up a lot of his origin energy. Even if he consumed high-grade pills to recover his origin energy, he would not be able to recover to his peak state in a short time. It would not be easy for him to defeat Lin Xiushui, who was at the 10th level of the Star Realm. Cut the crap, Lu Cheng. You'll definitely lose today. As his voice fell, Lin Xiushui also sneered. Then, he reached out his hand and touched the spirit ring on his finger. Instantly, he took out a sky blue, wrought iron rod. There were dragon patterns on the rod. At this moment, it was emitting a powerful spiritual qi fluctuation. It seemed to be a rather powerful spiritual treasure. Water Dragon Staff. Looks like Xiushui is planning to decide the outcome with one move. Seeing Lin Xiushui take out her natal spiritual treasure, Lin Jinan, who was watching from below the stage, also fell in a deep thought. Lin Xiushui was the son of his second brother. Although he did not receive as much attention as Lin Shui did, he was still considered an elite among the direct descendants. Moreover, Lin Xiushui's natal spiritual treasure was also quite extraordinary. It was a quasi-rank, 5 spiritual treasure called the Water Dragon Staff. It could transform into a physical form and maximize the martial artist's origin energy. At the same time, it could condense a powerful water dragon out of thin air. It was very useful for martial artists who specialized in water element cultivation methods. Big brother, don't worry. With Xiushui's strength, other than Lu Xuanyu and Lu Yunying, who is yet to appear, the other Lu family disciples are no match for her. She'll definitely win this battle. As for the following battles, it's hard to say. I hope that little kid called Fei Ren won't drag our Lin family down. In response to Lin Jinan's reaction, Lin Fan also gently stroked his long beard and said faintly. However, there was a hidden meaning in his words. His gaze occasionally glanced in Fei Ren's direction with an indifferent expression. Lin Fan had always been very dissatisfied with Fei Ren, a wandering cultivator who had suddenly appeared. Not only did he take away Lin Xiushui's spot for the Heavenly Yuan Pool baptism, but he also saved Lin Shuai, Qin Gang, and the rest from the Black Cloud Stockade bandits, completely disrupting Lin Fen's plan to seize power. If it was not for the fact that the time was not right, Lin Fen would have already eliminated Fei Ren. He would not have allowed him to become the Lin family's external aide and participate in the Heavenly Yuan Pool baptism competition. Second brother, you're wrong. Little brother Fei Ren is quite strong. Didn't Elder Lin Ping also lose to him? I feel that our Lin family has a chance to win this time. As if sensing a trace of hostility in Lin Fen's words, Lin Jinan, as the head of the family and the eldest brother, waved his hand and smiled as he tried to smooth things over. I hope so. Even if we win against the Liu family, we still have the Chao family. Upon hearing this, Lin Fen only coldly smiled and did not say anything else. His gaze once again landed on the nearby competition stage. Total annihilation. Lin Xiushui tightly gripped the water dragon staff in his hand. In the next instant, he violently swept it forward. A large amount of yuan power burst forth, instantly transforming into a roaring giant water dragon that immediately surged towards Lu Cheng. Roar! As the water dragon swept forward, the surrounding temperature dropped a little, causing the humidity to condense. With a quasi-tier 5 soul treasure and a 10th level star stage yuan power cultivation base, Lin Xiushui's attack was extremely powerful. It was comparable to the full force attack of a half-step martial master. 8 trigrams defense. Lu Cheng naturally did not dare to be careless in the face of Lin Xiushui's powerful attack. He similarly circulated all of his yuan power, forming an extremely thick yuan power barrier several meters around him. 8 trigrams appeared within the barrier, interlocking with each other. Its aura was like a rainbow. It was obvious that he had used all of his strength. Compared to Lin Yu's green bamboo sword technique, Lin Xiushui's attack was more than twice as powerful. Therefore, Lu Cheng did not dare to hold back in the slightest. He also used his strongest defensive martial arts. This 8 trigrams defense had saved his life several times. Moreover, it had blocked the attack of a half-step martial master. Its defensive power was comparable to a quasi-tier 5 martial art. Hence, Lu Cheng was quite confident that he could block his opponent's attack. Bang! The giant water dragon viciously bombarded the yuan power barrier. In an instant, a shock wave swept out. The yuan power exploded, and the originally indestructible yuan power barrier cracked like a spider web. Poochie! Accompanied by a shattering sound, the 8 trigram shadow was destroyed in the next moment. The remaining force of the water dragon viciously smashed onto Lu Cheng's body. In an instant, he was blasted out of the competition stage. Blood spurted out as he miserably fell off the stage. Instant kill in one move. Near the competition stage, not only the disciples of the Liu clan, but even the disciples of the Chao clan were looking at Lin Xiushui with astonishment. After all, Lu Cheng had defeated Lin Yu. His strength was obvious to everyone. However, he was still unable to resist Lin Xiushui. It was like a firefly facing the bright moon. He was defeated in an instant. As a result, the Lin clan won again. They had a record of 2 wins and 2 losses. They were now tied with the Liu clan. Chapter 329. This kid's strength has become a lot stronger than before. In front of the Chao family's team, Chao Huan crossed his arms in front of his chest, and his eyes lit up. Although the Lin family might not be able to pass the first round of the competition, after witnessing Lin Xiushui's strength, Chao Huan was eager to fight with him. As a direct descendant of the Chao family, Chao Huan had fought with Lin Xiushui before. However, Lin Xiushui was still weak at that time. Not only had he not broken through to level 10-star realm, but he was also no match for Chao Huan. However, judging from Lin Xiushui's performance in killing Lu Cheng in one move, he already had the strength to contend with Chao Huan. However, it would be difficult for Lin Xiushui to defeat Chao Huan. After all, Chao Huan was a half-step to martial master and a direct descendant of the Chao family. Xiao Huan, the Lin family only has 2 wins and 2 losses. Lu Xuanyu hasn't made his move yet. It's hard to say if the Lin family wants to win the first round of the competition and maintain their position as one of the 3 major families. Whether it's Lin Xiushui or Lin Shuai who hasn't made a move yet, they might not be Lu Xuanyu's match. Chao Ling glanced at Chao Huan beside her and said plainly. She seemed to know the Lin family very well. You're right, sister. Although Lu Xuanyu is arrogant, his trump card, the hidden dragon sky-shattering strike, is extremely powerful. Even I don't dare to underestimate it. It's going to be difficult for the Lin family to make a comeback. Chao Huan grinned and did not rebuke him. In the Tianyuan pool competition, the Chao family was the defending team. They did not need to participate in the first round of the competition. They only needed to compete with the winners of the Lin and Lu family. They would then divide the baptism quota and other benefits in the Tianyuan pool. Therefore, most of the Chao family members were not interested in the competition between the younger generation of the Lin family and the Lu family. After all, with Chao Ling, the god's favored daughter, no matter who won, the Lu clan or the Lin clan would not be able to threaten the Chao clan's position. Chao Ling was not only the leader of the 3 geniuses of Blackrock City, but also a LV1 martial mentor realm expert. Her strength was far superior to Lu Xuanyu and Lin Shuai. On the battle stage, after Lin Xiushui killed Lu Cheng in 1 move, he did not leave the stage. His figure was still standing on the same spot, obviously waiting for the next opponent. This guy is too arrogant. I'll deal with him. In the crowd, when he saw Lin Xiushui's arrogant and unruly gaze, a Lu clan disciple was instantly infuriated, and he seized the opportunity to flash out. Shua. After a breath's time, the figure of this Lu clan member also steadily landed on the stage. At this moment, his gaze was looking at Lin Xiushui opposite him. His eyes were filled with battle intent. Where did this small fry come from? Is Lu Xuanyu still not going to make a move? Lin Xiushui glanced at the member of the Lu clan opposite him. He gently lifted the water dragon rod in his hand and mocked. His tone was filled with disdain. Although Lin Xiushui had just broken through, with the support of the quasi-grade 5 spirit treasure water dragon staff, her strength was comparable to an ordinary half-step martial master. On the other hand, the Lu clan disciple opposite her was only at the 10th level of the Star Realm. The difference was obvious. Your grandfather's name is Lu Yi. Don't be so arrogant. Faced with Lin Xiushui's mockery, Lu Yi's face flushed red. He immediately flew into a rage and threw a heavy punch at Lin Xiushui's face. Although he did not have a quasi-grade 5 spirit treasure, both of them were at the 10th level of the Star Realm. Even if Lin Xiushui had a powerful quasi-grade 5 spirit treasure like the Water Dragon Rod, it would not be easy for him to win easily. Bang! The heavy punch mixed with origin energy hit the Water Dragon Rod hard, and a loud, muffled sound was heard. In the next moment, origin energy swept out and exploded. At the same time, Lu Yi's figure rapidly retreated and finally landed on the edge of the stage with an ugly expression. Your brute force is not bad, but this is not enough to defeat me. Lin Xiushui also retreated a few steps. In the next moment, he snorted coldly and swept the water dragon rod in his hand again. The billowing origin energy instantly condensed into a huge water dragon shockwave, which was directed at Lu Yi, who was not far away. Although the outcome of the battle had not been decided yet, the spectators could roughly tell that Lu Yi was not Lin Xiushui's match in a head-on confrontation. His strength was still a little lacking. For example, in the previous exchange, Lu Yi was at a disadvantage. He was almost blown out of the stage by Lin Xiushui's rod. Now that second young Master Cloudhawk is injured and unable to fight, it seems that Lu Yi is not this kid's match. Below the stage, Lu Yin, who had helped the Lu family clinch the first victory, said with a serious expression when he saw that Lu Yi and Lin Xiushui were in a heated battle. After all, Lin Xiushui was the second most important person in the Lin family. His strength and status were only inferior to Lin Shuai, the young master of the Lin family. Moreover, Lin Xiushui had a quasi-grade 5 spirit treasure. He was not easy to deal with. If his previous opponent was not Lin Wanquan, but Lin Xiushui, Luin knew that he was no match for him. He would be defeated in less than 5 rounds. His situation was not much better than Lu Yi's. Luin, don't say such discouraging words. The Lin family won't be able to survive for long before the young master makes his move. Lu Cheng, who had been severely injured by Lin Xiushui's rod, turned pale and looked at Lu Xuanyu. Xuanyu, you're up at the 4th round. Finish off the Lin family's juniors. At this moment, Lu and Lu Cheng and the others were not the only ones. Even Lu Shantong withdrew his gaze and looked at Lu Xuanyu. As the head of the Lu family and an LV3 martial mentor realm expert, Lu Shantong's eyesight was not weak. However, with a quick glance, he could see that Lu Yi was not strong enough to win. He could only rely on Lu Xuanyu. Lu Xuanyu was not only his eldest son, but also one of the 3 great geniuses of Blackrock City. He was stronger than Lin Shuai and was second only to Chao Ling from the Chao family. Therefore, Lu Shantong was confident that he could crush the Lin family and remove them from the list of the 3 great families of Blackrock City. Yes, father. I'll make the Lin family pay for Cloudhawk's severed arm with their blood. Lu Xuanyu cupped his hands in salute at his father's order. A murderous look flashed across his eyes. At this moment, another loud noise came from the stage. In the next moment, Lu Yi's figure was seen streaking across the sky before falling heavily outside the stage. He was vomiting blood nonstop, and the aura of his Yuan Qi had also plummeted. He looked very miserable, as if the outcome of the battle had already been decided. Another win? Wang Kua, who was watching from the spectator stand, was surprised to see Lu Yi flying out of the stage. After all, Lin Xiushui and Lu Yi were both level 10-star boundary cultivators. Logically speaking, they should have fought more than 100 rounds. However, the outcome was decided in less than 15 minutes. It was indeed surprising. This kid has won 2 matches in a row. The Lin family has won 3 matches and lost 2 matches. They've overtaken the Lu family. Interesting. The plain-clothed old man beside Wang Kuo stroked his beard and smiled in the face of this somewhat complicated battle. His tone was filled with a hidden meaning. Master, who do you think will win in the end? The young man beside the plain-clothed old man also cupped his hands in salute with a smile. Although his cultivation had already reached the half-step to martial mentor realm, he was still far from the white-clothed old man in front of him. Not only was the old man his teacher, but he was also a level 2 martial mentor realm expert. His overall strength was even stronger than the Flying Dragon Sex leader, Wang Kua. He was one of the veteran experts near Blackrock City. Therefore, the young man was very respectful to the plain-clothed old man and did not dare to slight him. Chapter 330. It's hard to say. Although he's not weak, he's probably no match for Lu Xuanyu. Even if Lin Shuai fights, the result will be the same. Although Lu Xuanyu is arrogant and domineering, he does have the strength. Apart from Chao Ling and her brother from the Chao family, no one else is his match. The Lin family has less than a 30% chance of winning. The plain-clothed old man did not keep his disciple in suspense. As a veteran LV2 martial master, his judgment would never be wrong in a battle between a group of high-star state juniors. Although Lin Xiushui and Lin Shuai were strong, they were not strong enough to defeat Lu Xuanyu unless they fought together. However, the rules of the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition were that only one-on-one battles were allowed. Therefore, it was still difficult for the Lin family to turn the situation around. Even if they won 3 matches and lost 2 matches, they would eventually be overtaken by the Lu family if they could not defeat Lu Xuanyu, who was a formidable opponent. They would then be ranked last and lose their position as one of the top 3 families. Well, you're right, Master. Upon hearing this, the young man agreed with the plain-clothed old man. Old Fong, your 30% chance is too low. I think it's at least 50%. I heard that the Lin family recently asked for external help. Before he finished speaking, Wang Kuo shook his head and looked at Fei Run, who was in the crowd, not far away. He seemed to have a different opinion. Oh, I think it's the guy with the green halberd. He hasn't fought yet, so I guess he's not weak. The plain-clothed old man was Fong Wu, the grand elder of the Fong family in Black Rock City. Although the Fong family was also one of the grade 8 families, they were slightly weaker than the Lin family. Therefore, they were not qualified to be one of the top 3 families in Black Rock City. However, the Lin clan's influence was gradually declining. If the Lin clan still ranked last in the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition, the Fong clan behind Fong Wu would have a slight chance to rise up and become one of the 3 new clans in Black Rock City. Therefore, Fong Wu paid close attention to the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition. Unlike Wang Kuo, who was the leader of the Flying Dragon sect, Fong Wu was purely invited to watch the fun. Wang Kuo also knew that the Flying Dragon sect was not strong enough to be one of the top 3 families in Black Rock City. External aid? Even though Fong Wu knew that Wang Kuo was just here to watch the show, Fong Wu's expression turned slightly suspicious when he heard Wang Kuo's words. He also looked at Fei Run, who was not far away. I can't see through this kid. How is this possible? The next moment, Fong Wu's expression changed slightly as he exclaimed in his heart. As a LV2 martial master, he still could not see through Fei Ren's background. It was as if there was an invisible barrier around Fei Ren's body that blocked his Yuanli senses. It was as if he was shrouded in shadows, confusing and confusing. This had never happened before. Wang Kuo is right. Lin Xiaoshui and Lin Shuai are not worth mentioning. The truly powerful one in the Lin clan is that brat called Fei Run. I've already investigated this person. Although there's not much information, I'm sure that his strength is definitely not weak. Old Man Whitebone wanted to make a move against it before, but he's still nowhere to be found. At this moment, a purple-robed man with thick eyebrows and big eyes slowly stood up from the spectator stand. His tone was serious. He was Song Kei, the law-enforcing elder of the Purple Spirit sect, who had competed with Chao Ling for the cloud-patterned ancient dragon armor at the Black Rock auction that day. Elder Song, you mean Old Man Whitebone was defeated by this brat? How is this possible? As soon as Song Kei finished speaking, not only Fong Wu and Wang Kuo, but also the other spectators' expressions changed slightly. They were all veteran experts invited by the 3 big clans to watch the battle. Almost all of them were the Martial Master realm or above, so they naturally knew the reputation of Old Man Whitebone. If what Brother Song said is true, then this brat's strength is too abnormal. At this moment, Wang Kuo took a deep breath. His eyes flickered as he looked at Fei Run with a hint of fear. On the other side, among the crowd of the Lin clan, Xiaoshui's strength has improved rapidly. She has defeated another person. Now it's 2 consecutive victories. Seeing Lin Xiaoshui's imposing manner in defeating 2 young geniuses of the Liu family in a row, Lin Jinan's expression changed slightly. Big brother, I've already said that the last baptism spot in the Heavenly Yuan Pool should be reserved for Xiaoshui, but you insisted on giving it to an outsider. Seeing Lin Jinan's reaction, Lin Fun was also pleased. He then sneered, as if he was still unhappy with Lin Jinan's decision and held a grudge against him. After all, Fei Ren was just an outsider, and it was best not to let the goodies flow to the fields of outsiders. Well, let's wait and see. Hearing this, Lin Jinan hesitated and sighed with a bitter smile. After all, it was his decision to give Fei Ren a baptism spot in the Heavenly Yuan Pool. As the head of the Lin family, Lin Jinan could not say it even if he wanted to. He could not afford to lose face, so he could only smile bitterly. At this moment, the battle was still going on. Although Lin Xiaoshui had defeated 2 young geniuses of the Liu family in a row, she now had a strong opponent. The young master of the Liu family, Liu Xuanyu, one of the 3 heavens of Black Rock City. Liu Xuanyu, you finally made your move. On the battle stage, Lin Xiaoshui's eyes narrowed as he looked at Liu Xuanyu, who was standing with his hand behind his back with an imposing aura. At the same time, he tightened his grip on the water dragon staff. Lu Xuanyu was a well-known genius, while Lin Xiushui was only the second strongest among the direct descendants of a Lin family. In the eyes of outsiders, he was not even as strong as Lin Shui, so he was no match for Lu Xuanyu. However, Lin Xiushui had his own pride. Even if he lost, he would not lose in a humiliating manner. I'll let the Lin family gloat for a while, but it's all over now. Little trash, you're no match for me. Hurry up and get Lin Shui up here. Lu Xuanyu sneered and stood with his hands behind his back. At the same time, he looked at Lin Xiushui with disdain, as if he was looking at an ant. Damn you! As the son of the Lin family's first elder, Lin Fun, and one of the top geniuses among the younger generation of the Lin family, how could Lin Xiushui endure such contempt and humiliation? He immediately flew into a rage and swung his water dragon staff at Lu Xuanyu. Total annihilation. With a roar, he swung his water dragon staff in the air. At the same time, a huge origin energy water dragon was formed and aimed at Lu Xuanyu, who was standing with his hands behind his back. This move was Lin Xiushui's most powerful killer move. It could instantly kill a 10th level star realm martial artist. Even an ordinary half-step martial master would not dare to underestimate it. Child's play. However, Lu Xuanyu did not dodge Lin Xiushui's most powerful killer move. Instead, he raised his right hand and grabbed it with all his might. Bam! Rumble! In a breath's time, the powerful origin energy water dragon was crushed by Lu Xuanyu's right hand. At the same time, water splashed everywhere. What? Lin Xiushui was shocked to see his all-out attack being easily neutralized by Lu Xuanyu. It's over. In the next moment, before he could react, Lu Xuanyu's palm energy had reached him and landed heavily on Lin Xiushui's chest. Bam! Origin energy raged, and the gray martial robe in front of Lin Xiushui's chest was torn apart. At the same time, he spat out a mouthful of blood and fell outside the arena. His aura was weak, and he was severely injured. Although his origin energy cultivation was only at the half-step martial master realm, Lu Xuanyu's overall strength was comparable to a first-level martial master realm expert. Therefore, Lin Xiushui was no match for Lu Xuanyu. He was defeated in a single blow and could not resist at all. Chapter 331. So weak. After sending Lin Xiushui flying, Lu Xuanyu retracted his gaze and looked at Lin Shui, who was nearby. He sneered, Lin Shui, it's your turn now. He was more concerned about Lin Shui and Fei Run, who had crippled his brother Lu Yunying's arm, than Lin Xiushui, who was at the 10th level of the Star Realm. The Lin clan was on the decline. As long as he killed the two of them, the rest of the Lin clan's younger generation would be nothing more than a motley crew. Xiushui. Lin Fan's expression also changed when he saw Lin Xiushui's defeat. He leaped toward Lin Xiushui. Damn you, little bastard from the Lu clan. Lin Fan's expression turned ugly when he saw Lin Xiushui, who was covered in wounds and had bloodstains on his chest. He was furious when he looked at Lu Xuanyu. Although there was a rule against killing in the Heavenly Yuan Lake competition, Lin Xiushui's injuries were very serious. His ribs and sternum were all broken. If he wasn't treated in time, he would die from excessive blood loss. Even if he was saved, his martial arts foundation would be slightly damaged, which might affect his future breakthroughs. Father, Lin Xiushui struggled to get up. Just as he was about to speak, he spat out a mouthful of black blood and lost consciousness. Brother, take Xiushui back to the clan for treatment. Leave the rest of the competition to Lin Shui and the others. As he spoke, Lin Jinnan's body flashed and arrived in front of Lin Xiushui, who was unable to get up from the ground. At the same time, he extended his hand and took out a high-grade medicinal pill that emitted a pill fragrance. He slowly placed it into Lin Xiushui's mouth and spoke in a grave tone. Lin Xiushui could no longer fight due to her injuries. Moreover, it was obvious that Lu Xuanyu had gone all out this time. If Lin Xiaoxue had not held the Water Dragon Rod, a quasi-tier 5 spirit treasure, and used the power of the spirit treasure to block most of the impact, she would have died on the spot. Master, if anything happens to Xiaoxue, I won't let that little bastard Lu Xuanyu go. Please don't stop me. Lin Fen glanced deeply at Lin Jinan as he secretly clenched his fists. Soon after, he picked up the severely injured Lin Xiaoxue and turned around to leave. Not long after, he left the valley where the Heavenly Yuan Pool was located. In Lin Fen's opinion, the interests of the Lin family and the position of the head of the family were not as important as his precious son, Lin Xiaoxue. If anything happened to Lin Xiaoxue, he would even go to war with the Lu family to kill Lu Xuanyu to vent his anger. As Lin Fen's elder brother and the current head of the Lin family, Lin Jinan naturally knew his temperament. Lu Shentong is a cunning old fox. Does he really think that the Lin family can be bullied so easily? With a grave expression, Lin Jinan looked at Lu Shentong, who was standing at the front of the Lu clan's group, anger vaguely visible in his eyes. Regardless of whether it was Lin Xiaoshui's injuries or the fact that Lu Yunying had maliciously picked on Qin Gang and the others, it was clear that the Lu family was scheming behind the scenes. Almost every time, they wanted the Lin family dead. However, Lin Jinan was no fool. After the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition, the Lin and Lu clan would likely face a great war. It was unavoidable. Head of the family, Lu Xuanyu, is too powerful, a young man from the Lin family said timidly. He seemed to be intimidated by Lu Xuanyu's strength. Young clan leader, even Lin Xiaoxue was defeated. The few of us are no match for him. Lin Wanquan and Lin Yu, who had already been defeated, also looked uneasy. They looked at Lin Shuai and spoke with unease. After all, the Lin family disciples were not as strong as Lin Xiaoxue. Even if they fought again, they would not be able to escape defeat. They might even end up in a worse state. Just as Lin Jinan had said, Lu Xuanyu had come with the intention to kill. Even if the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition prohibited killing, Lu Xuanyu would not show any mercy. I say, should I deal with this guy in the next round? Fei Ren suddenly stepped forward when he sensed the tense atmosphere in the Lin family's group. In his opinion, Lin Shuai might not be a match for Lu Xuanyu. It was better for him to deal with Lu Xuanyu himself. Moreover, Fei Ren had already taken a place in the Heavenly Yuan Pool's baptism. Now was the time to return the favor. Lu Xuanyu could not stop him. After all, even a veteran martial master like Elder Whitebone had been defeated by him. Brother Fei, I know your strength very well, but let me deal with him this time. Lu Xuanyu and I are old rivals. This guy killed the Lin family disciples. As the young master of the Lin family, I will not let him off. Surprisingly, Lin Shuai shook his head in response to Fei Ren's request. His eyes were resolute, as if he was going to deal with Lu Xuanyu himself. Ever since the Black Rock auction, he had not only obtained a grade 5 defensive spiritual treasure, the Rainbow Golden Armor, but also reached the half-step martial master realm. His strength had greatly increased in all aspects. Therefore, Lin Shuai was quite confident in facing his old rival, Lu Xuanyu. It was not that he did not believe in Fei Ren's strength. Since Fei Ren had been able to kill the second leader of the Black Cloud Stronghold Bandits with a single move, it naturally proved that his strength wasn't any weaker than a half-step martial master. Moreover, Fei Ren's origin power cultivation had successfully broken through to the 8th level of the Star Realm, so his strength was several times stronger than before. Lu Xuanyu, the Heavenly Yuan Pool competition has always prohibited killing. It seems that you want to break the rule. On the battle stage, Lin Shuai leaped up and landed steadily like a swallow. He looked at Lu Xuanyu with a solemn expression. Lu Xuanyu's strength was comparable to an LV1 martial master, which was the same level as him. If there were no accidents, even if he used all his trump cards, he would still have a 50% chance of winning. Marshal Lin, this young master, didn't kill that brat. I just took the opportunity to cripple him, just like how Fei Ren treated my second brother. I'll tell you the truth. Today, whether it's you or Fei Run, I'll make you pay with your blood. None of you can escape." At this moment, Lu Xuanyu sneered in the face of Lin Shuai's question. His pale face could not help but reveal a wisp of viciousness and resentment. He seemed to feel that he had gone too easy on Lin Qiushui by not killing him with one strike. "There's no point in talking. Today, I'll defeat you with my own hands." Lin Shuai took a deep breath. The next moment, wisps of majestic origin energy gushed out of his body. The majestic origin energy rose into the sky like wisps of green smoke. At the same time, it emitted a powerful and invisible aura that made people's hearts palpitate. He knew very well that the outcome of this heavenly Yuan pool competition would determine whether the Lin clan could maintain their position as one of the three major clans. If they could not survive this crisis, the Lin clan would be in danger. Here comes the main event. Lin Shuai versus Lu Xuanyu. These two kids are the top geniuses of the Lin clan and the Lu clan. Not far away, seeing that the battle was about to start, Wang Kua, who was in the spectator area, spoke again in a playful tone. Both of them are at the half-step to martial master realm. Apart from the natal spiritual treasures in their hands, they will compete with their real strength and their mastery of martial arts skills. Song Ke, the elder of the Purple Spirit sect, also looked at the competition platform not far away. He also nodded slightly. It seemed that he was also interested in this competition between the younger generation. After all, both of them were well-known geniuses in Black Rock City, and each of them had the strength to contend with an expert at the first level of the martial mentor realm. Chapter 332. Boom! Everyone looked at the stage. The next moment, Lin Shuai's origin energy aura became stronger and turned into streaks of green flames that swept toward Lu Xuanyu. Although the green flames were formed by origin energy, they were extremely hot and powerful. Any martial artist below the 9th level of the Star Realm would die upon contact with them. They would be melted on the spot, and even their protective origin energy would not be able to resist them. Concept power? Lu Xuanyu raised his eyebrows slightly in the face of the green flames. He raised his hand and blasted out several origin energy palms. Swoosh! Swoosh! The origin energy palms emitted a brownish-yellow light and split the green flames like discs. At the same time, Lu Xuanyu moved to the back of the stage, barely dodging his opponent's attack. Boom! The green flames smashed onto the ground, causing an explosion. At the same time, the temperature around the stage rose a little. Although Lin Shuai did not hurt Lu Xuanyu as he dodged the attack, it was enough to show that Lin Shuai was several times stronger than Lin Qiushui. Moreover, he had mastered the rare concept power, making him one of the three geniuses of Black Rock City. Fire concept. It's a pity that he has only comprehended a little bit of it. If he had mastered it, Lu Xuanyu would have been in big trouble. Seeing Lin Shuai forcing Lu Xuanyu back with one move and the green flames around him, Chao Huan, who was watching the battle, suddenly spoke. He seemed to have realized something. As the young genius of the Chao family who was second only to Chao Ling, he was not weaker than Lu Xuanyu and Lin Shuai. However, he had not comprehended the concept power. Concept power was a symbol of talent and comprehension. If an ordinary martial artist could master the concept power, even if it was only a little bit of it, his strength would be greatly improved. However, it was not the only improvement. Cultivation techniques, martial arts, and spiritual treasures could also improve a martial artist's strength. Therefore, Chao Huan did not care about it. Even if he had not mastered the concept power, he could still fight against Lin Shuai and Lu Xuanyu. The concept power was just icing on the cake for him. Moreover, Lin Shuai had only comprehended the concept power, which was not a heaven-defying improvement to his strength. It could only slightly increase his origin energy and the power of his fire tribute martial arts. Just this little flame can't hurt this young master. Martial Lin, looks like your concept of fire isn't perfect yet. After easily neutralizing Lin Shuai's attack, Lu Xuanyu didn't counterattack. Instead, he hooked his finger at Lin Shuai and said in a mocking tone, both he and Lin Shuai were half-step martial masters. Even if Lin Shuai had comprehended the state of fire, it was only in embryonic form. There was nothing to fear. Then what about this move? In the face of Lu Xuanyu's provocation, Lin Shuai's expression didn't change. He let out another roar and shot out dozens of cyan-black flame ribbons. His aura was still as imposing as before. Boom! Boom! In midair, the flames intertwined with each other and instantly turned into an incomparably huge sun wheel. It was like the scorching sun in the sky, exceptionally dazzling. Green Sun Yuan Ling Slash. The aura of the blazing sun wheel rose to its peak. In the next moment, it smashed down toward Lu Xuanyu, bringing with it a gust of cold wind. Even the ground beneath everyone's feet trembled slightly. Debris and dust rose, as if it was a sign of the power of this attack. It's actually the Green Sun Original Spirit Slash. Young clan leader is going all out. In the crowd, Lin Wanquan couldn't help but widen his eyes and open his mouth. This move was Lin Shuai's unique skill. He had learned it from Lin Jinan, the head of the family. At the same time, it was an authentic quasi-grade 6 martial technique. When this martial technique was cultivated to the great completion realm, it could turn the flames into the green sun and maximize the power of the state of fire. Moreover, Lin Shuai's attainment in the Green Sun Yuan Ling Slash wasn't the strongest among the Lins. If Lin Jinan were to attack personally, the power of this Green Sun Yuan Ling Slash would be even more terrifying. Even the higher-ups of the Chao and Lu families, as well as veteran martial masters like Lu Shantong and Chao Chuanwu, wouldn't dare to underestimate it. Given young clan leader strength, Lu Xuanyu won't be able to withstand this attack. Like Lin Wanquan and the rest, Lin Yu's beautiful eyes flickered. She clenched her jade-like hands under her sleeves, thinking that Lu Xuanyu wouldn't be able to withstand this attack. In her opinion, as long as she could defeat Lu Xuanyu, the rest of the Lu family disciples wouldn't be a threat, and the Lins would be able to retain their position as one of the top 3 families. After cultivating for 3 months, Little Shuai's Green Sun Yuan Ling Slash has improved again and reached the great completion realm. In front of the Lins, Lin Jinan squinted his eyes at the dazzling, scorching sun wheel in the arena. Then he looked pleased. Lin Shuai's attack was powerful enough to kill any half-step martial master. Unless Lu Xuanyu had a high-tier spiritual treasure or mastered an exquisite martial technique of the same level, he wouldn't be able to withstand it as easily as before. Even if he didn't die, he would be severely injured. Boom! Under everyone's watchful eyes, the scorching sun wheel smashed toward Lu Xuanyu like a meteor. Its momentum was earth-shattering. Bang! Suddenly, just as the scorching sun wheel was about to hit Lu Xuanyu's body, the phenomena around him suddenly changed. A large amount of origin energy gushed out, along with streaks of brown-yellow halos. Rumble! These brownish-yellow halos were not material, but they were filled with a mysterious power of concept. They instantly turned into a thick and heavy earth barrier. At the same time, they completely offset the power of the blazing sun wheel, causing deafening explosions. After the impact, the scorching sun wheel collapsed, and Lu Xuanyu's figure reappeared in front of everyone. His face was cold, and there was still a sneer on his face. He was unscathed. Everyone was stunned when they saw this. Everyone present was well aware of how powerful Lin Shuai's attack was. If it were anyone else, they definitely wouldn't be able to block the Green Sun Vital Spirit Slash. However, not only did Lu Xuanyu block it, but he was also unharmed. As one of the 3 geniuses of Black Rock City, Lu Xuanyu's strength had improved tremendously, which was beyond everyone's expectations. This guy has also comprehended the power of conception, and the Earth Conception, which is good at defense. In the spectator stand, Elder Song K of the Purple Spirit Sect stroked his chin, his eyes flickering. As a master of the martial mentor realm, the power of conception was nothing to them. Regardless of whether it was the senior members or the patriarchs of the three big families, they had more or less mastered the power of conception. The only difference was their proficiency in it. Moreover, the conception that Lu Xuanyu and Lin Shuai had comprehended was the common conception of the five elements, not the rare and special conception. The only thing that made Song Ke look at Lu Xuanyu in a new light was that, unlike Lin Shuai, Lu Xuanyu's earth conception had broken through the embryonic stage and stepped into the level of small success. Its power had increased several times, which was why he could block Lin Shuai's green sun Yuan Ling slash. This is small success of the earth conception. Narrowing his eyes, Fei Ren looked at the brown-yellow halos around Lu Xuanyu and the dense aura that had not dissipated. Below the stage, he was also surprised. Oh, it turns out that this guy has also comprehended the power of conception and has reached the small success of the earth conception. At this moment, he finally understood why Lu Xuanyu was so confident in the beginning and didn't take Lin Shuai and the other seriously. This was his trump card. After all, the power of conception was generally divided into embryonic stage, small success, large success, and perfection. Although they were both power of conception, the small success of the earth conception was several times more powerful than Lin Shuai's embryonic form of fire conception. He sneered and said, "Brother Lin, the heaven origin test has always had a rule that no one is allowed to interfere. Do you want to break this rule? Get out of my way." Glancing at Lu Shantong, who was blocking his way, Lin Jinnan's face darkened slightly. A majestic origin energy aura spread out in all directions, causing one's heart to palpitate. What if I don't? Sensing Lin Jinnan's powerful origin energy aura, Lu Shantong snorted coldly. His origin energy aura was also not weaker than Lin Jinnan's. For a moment, they were evenly matched. Both he and Lin Jinnan were at LV3 Martial Master Realm. Even if they really fought, it would be impossible to determine the winner in a short time. However, Lu Shantong didn't care about the outcome. As long as he could stop Lin Jinnan, he would have achieved his goal. Are the patriarchs of the Lin family and Lu family going to fight? What's going on? I wonder if the Chao family will get involved. They seem to be allies of the Lu family. At this moment, the spectators were discussing animatedly when they saw Lin Jinnan and Lu Shantong confronting each other. It seemed like a fight would break out at any moment. Lin Jinnan is the only one left from the Lin family. Great Elder Lin Fun has already left. If they really fight, the Lin family will definitely be at a disadvantage, not to mention whether the Chao family will get involved. Facing the discussion around him, Elder Song Ke of the Purple Spirit Sect made a clear judgment. Brother Song is right. This old man thinks so too. Beside him, the plain-clothed old man, Fong Wu, also nodded. As for Wang Qua, the leader of the Flying Dragon sect, he seemed to be deep in thought. At the same time, the dust on the stage gradually dispersed, and Lin Shuai's figure reappeared in front of everyone. At this moment, although Lin Shuai had yet to fall, the injuries on his body were not light. The robes in front of his chest were completely tattered, like strips of cloth hanging on his body. At the same time, a dazzling golden armor was revealed. However, this armor was also seriously damaged. The scars on it were terrible, and blood was dripping from it, dyeing the ground red. Cough, cough, cough. With a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth, Lin Shuai struggled to get up. His originally majestic aura had completely withered. At this moment, his face was extremely pale, and his eyes were full of shock as he looked at Lu Xuanyu. He and Lu Xuanyu used to be one of the three geniuses of Black Rock City, but the gap between their strengths was getting wider and wider. Young clan leader, seeing that Lin Shuai was still alive, everyone from the Lin clan heaved a sigh of relief. However, the next moment, they became nervous again. Judging from the current situation, it was impossible for Lin Shuai to defeat Lu Xuanyu. Moreover, he would still be in danger of losing his life if he continued to fight. Although there was a rule against killing in the Heavenly Yuan pool competition, the Lin clan and the Lu clan have been rivals for many years. There was no guarantee that Lu Xuanyu would violate the rule and kill Lin Shuai on the spot. If it weren't for this fourth-grade spiritual artifact armor, Lin Shuai's life would have been in danger. This is a blessing in disguise. Below the stage, Feiren crossed his arms in front of his chest with a solemn expression. He was now ready to intervene at any time. Although Lu Xuanyu had consumed a lot of Yuan power in this battle, Lin Shuai had completely lost the ability to fight. The armor that had helped Lin Shuai block Lu Xuanyu's fatal blow was the rainbow golden armor. This armor was a fourth-grade spiritual artifact with top-notch defensive power. Lu Xuanyu had obtained it from the Black Rock auction. It was because of this armor and Lin Shuai's protective Yuan power that he was able to survive. Lu Xuanyu, I admit defeat, Lin Shuai said as he tore off the tattered rainbow golden armor on his body. He was panting and his face was pale. He had underestimated Lu Xuanyu's strength from the beginning. Now that he had lost, Lin Shuai knew that he had no chance of winning. He could only place all his hopes on Fei Run, an outsider. Admit defeat? I won't accept it. However, Lu Xuanyu, who was standing opposite him, smirked as killing intent surged on his delicate and fair face. He had not come to defeat Lin Shuai in the beginning. Instead, he had planned to kill all the juniors of the Lin clan in the Heavenly Yuan pool competition to eliminate all future troubles. Lin Shuai's expression changed drastically when he sensed Lu Xuanyu's boundless killing intent. Go to hell. Subduing dragon, sky-shattering strike. Lu Xuanyu raised his head and roared. In the next moment, he soared into the sky as well. At the same time, surging origin energy swept out from his right palm, forming a roaring origin energy flood dragon that went straight for his opponent's heart meridian. It was unstoppable. This was his most powerful killing move. Its power was comparable to that of a 6th-grade martial art. Not only did he want to kill Lin Shuai with his own hands, but he also wanted to push the Lin clan into the abyss so that they would never be able to rise again. Chapter 334. Young Clan Leader. Faced with Lu Xuanyu's deadly attack, everyone from the Lin family exclaimed in shock. If Lin Shuai, the young clan leader of the Lin family, died, not only would the Lin family's foundation be greatly damaged, but there would also be internal turmoil. They would not be able to contend with the Chao and Lu families. Boom! The Yuan energy flood dragon swept across the arena and engulfed Lin Shuai in an instant. Dust flew everywhere, and no one knew if he was dead or alive. At this moment, Fei Ren's figure had also quietly disappeared into the crowd of the Lin family, his whereabouts unknown. Old dog Lu, you and I are irreconcilable enemies. On the other hand, Lin Jinan was even more furious when he saw Lin Shuai being engulfed by the Yuan energy flood dragon. Break! At this moment, Lin Jinan's origin energy fluctuated once again. At the same time, he punched Lu Shantong in the air and took the opportunity to fly toward the other side of the arena. Little Shuai, nothing must happen to you. I'll make the Lu family pay the price in blood. Due to Lu Shintong's interference, he had missed the best opportunity to save Lin Shuai. How could he not be furious? Haha, it's too late. Lu Shintong flashed and landed in front of the Lu family's team again. His lips curled into a vicious smile. Although Lin Jinan had broken through, Lu Xuanyu's deadly attack had already been launched. Lin Shuai, who was covered in injuries, could not withstand it. Even if Lin Jinan wanted to save Lin Shuai now, it was too late. Look, that person is... Suddenly, one of the Chao clan's disciples in the crowd cried out. Everyone's gazes turned to the battle stage one after another, and they were all stunned. A gray-robed figure was standing quietly on the stage. His right hand was glowing with a crimson golden light, and his aura was strong. Lin Shuai, who was standing behind him, was badly injured, but he was still alive. It seemed that Lu Xuanyu's killing blow had been neutralized by this gray-robed figure. Fei Ren, looking at the familiar gray-robed figure on the stage, Lin Jinnan's expression turned sluggish. Just now, everyone's attention had been focused on the battle between him and Lu Shintong. No one had expected that Fei Ran would actually save Lin Shuai. Brother Fei, in the end, I'm no match for him. Looking at Fei Ren's tall back, Lin Shuai pursed his lips. His face turned paler as he said, Lu Xuanyu's crouching dragon sky-shattering strike isn't an ordinary level 6 martial art. This martial art relies on yuan power as a supplement and inner force as the main component. It's extremely lethal. If the inner force accidentally seeps into one's meridians and dantian, even if one is lucky enough to survive, his dantian will explode. You have to be careful. Including today, he had already been saved twice by the other party. Now that Lin Shuai had lost his ability to fight, the only thing he could do was to reveal Lu Xuanyu's trump card in hopes that Fei Ran could turn the situation around. You go and recuperate first. I'll deal with him. Without looking back, Fei Ren's gaze was still fixed on Lu Xuanyu. Then, he slowly withdrew his right palm, and the golden light disappeared. Even without Lin Shuai's warning, he wouldn't have lost. Fei Ren had already figured out Lu Xuanyu's strength and trump cards from watching the battle below the stage. A lesser success earth concept and a 6th grade martial arts technique were not enough to defeat him. Now that his yuan power cultivation had reached level 8 star realm, and his Dharma 1000 transformation technique had reached greater mastery, not only was the power of his golden yuan power multiplied, but he had also formed the Dharma golden body, which was invulnerable to weapons, water, and fire. Fei Ren wasn't afraid of even a level 2 martial master, let alone Lu Xuanyu, who was only a half-step martial master. Little Shuai, are you all right? Lin Jinnan rushed over with a gust of wind. At the same time, he took out a high-grade pill and fed it to the injured Lin Shuai. Lu Xuanyu's crouching dragon strike could easily shatter a martial artist's meridians and dantian. It was the Lu family's secret technique, which Lin Jinnan knew very well. The high-level elixir he had just given Lin Shuai could protect the meridians and dantian and heal injuries. Father, I'm fine. Let's go. Lin Shuai shook his head, indicating that he was fine. In the next moment, Lin Jinnan brought him back to the Lin clan's team. Now that all the Lin clan's disciples had been killed, only Fei Ran was left. No matter how unwilling Lin Jinnan was, he could only place his hopes on Fei Ran. In the arena, you're Fei Ran. Seeing Fei Ran save Lin Shuai, Lu Xuanyu narrowed his eyes. In the next moment, a trace of killing intent appeared in his eyes again. This man had crippled one of his younger brother, Lu Yunying's hands. This was an old grudge that Lu Yunying had never forgotten. Yes, I am. Faced with Lu Xuanyu's fingerprints, Fei Ren sneered with a mocking smile. Lu Xuanyu wanted to kill him, and so did he. Brat, since you want to stand up for the Lin clan, leave your life here. As soon as Lin Shuai finished speaking, Lu Xuanyu laughed instead of being angry. In the next moment, he dashed forward and clawed at Fei Ren's shoulder. This palm was mixed with violent inner force. Even with the protection of origin energy, it was impossible to block it. It was extremely domineering. At this moment, Lu Xuanyu's plan was very clear. He wanted to kill Fei Ren with one strike. Fei Ren's origin energy cultivation was only at level 8 star realm. Not only was he very ordinary, but he was also far weaker than Lin Shuai. Although he did not know how Lin Shuai had blocked his fatal strike, in his mind, Fei Ren was as weak as an ant. That brat is called Fei Ren. He's only at level 8 star realm. He's too weak. He's even weaker than Lin Qiushui. Why did the Lin clan find such an ordinary helper? Did they really give up on themselves? Below the stage, seeing Fei Ren and Lu Xuanyu fighting, not only the disciples of the Lu clan, but also the people of the Chao clan were talking about it. Most of them were not optimistic about Fei Ren's chances. They thought he would definitely be defeated and might even be killed by Lu Xuanyu's palm. Brother Song, the Fei Ren you mentioned has made his move. I'd like to see if he has the ability to defeat Lu Xuanyu. In the spectator stand, Fang Wu grinned and said, if Fei Ren was defeated, The Lin clan would lose one of the three major clans, which would be good news for the Fong clan. Let's watch and see. Ignoring Fong Wu's probing, Song Ke, an elder of the Purple Spirit sect, narrowed his eyes and stared at Fei Run, who was not far away. He had a feeling that Fei Rin's strength was far more powerful than it seemed. At this moment, facing Lu Xuanyu's claw attack, Fei Rin stood still like an immovable wisdom king. He had no intention of dodging. Bang! Lu Xuanyu's claw hit Fei Rin's shoulder hard, making a muffled sound. However, the next moment, it was blocked by a crimson golden light, causing a huge impact. Boom! The aftershock of this powerful impact forced Lu Xuanyu back, and he fell to the back. What? When he landed on the ground, Lu Xuanyu's face was filled with shock. At this moment, Fei Run was shrouded in a crimson golden light, as if he had put on an invisible golden armor that was indestructible. Moreover, his body had grown more than 10 feet taller, and the veins on his limbs were exposed. He looked like a god of war who had come to the world. At this moment, he was exuding a terrifying aura. How can this guy be so powerful? Sensing the terrifying aura on Fei Run and the crimson golden light around him, Lu Xuanyu suddenly felt uneasy. Just now, not only did his powerful claw attack fail to hurt Fei Run, but he was also almost injured by the aftershock of the crimson golden light. Fei Rin's strength had greatly exceeded his expectations. Chapter 335. Although his cultivation is not high, his overall strength is no less than a LV1 martial master. How is that possible? Lu Shintong was shocked to see that Fei Run had easily blocked Lu Xuanyu's claw attack and was unscathed. He had thought that the Lin family would not be able to make a comeback after Lin Shuai's defeat. He did not expect Fei Run to appear out of nowhere, and his strength was far beyond most people's expectations. What kind of martial art is that? What a powerful aura. Chao Huan, who was standing in front of the Chao family, was equally shocked. At this moment, he sensed a dangerous yuan energy fluctuation from Fei Run. Moreover, the crimson golden light surrounding Fei Run also attracted his attention. It was this crimson golden light that had blocked Lu Xuanyu's attack. Its defensive power was amazing. A high-level martial art or cultivation method, at least grade 7. Chao Chuanwu spoke from the side, and a wisp of surprise and bewilderment surged onto his aged face. As the patriarch of the Chao family and one of the rare rank 4 martial masters in Blackrock City, he still had a discerning eye. At this moment, Fei Ren was definitely cultivating some kind of powerful cultivation method or martial art, and it was of an extremely high grade. Otherwise, he would not have been able to condense such a powerful origin energy aura and neutralize Lu Xuanyu's claw attack so easily. Moreover, the golden red light around Fei Run was not a protective origin energy. It was similar to the legendary Mighty Body, which not only had strong defensive power, but also greatly enhanced a martial artist's physique and 5 senses, increasing his overall combat power by dozens of times. Could it be the power of the Mighty Body? Chao Chuanwu suddenly felt a trace of astonishment when this thought suddenly emerged in his heart, and his expression became even more solemn. When he was young, he traveled all over the great Ming dynasty. At the same time, he met a giant in a certain sect. At that time, that giant had the legendary power of the tyrant physique, similar to Fei Run in front of him. His entire body exuded an endless aura with an indestructible defense. However, at this moment, Fei Rin's aura was 100 times weaker than the previous giant, so Chao Chuanwu was a bit uncertain. Father, do you know the background of this kid? Sensing Chao Chuanwu's reaction, Chao Ling, who had not spoken for a long time, took a step forward and whispered into his ear. Originally, she only saw Lu Xuanyu as an opponent. However, after seeing Fei Rin's strength, Chao Ling became even more vigilant. At the same time, she listed Fei Run, the foreign aide of the Lin family, as a strong opponent. It's hard to judge, but I'm sure that if this boy named Fei Ren hasn't practiced some high-level martial arts, then he might have comprehended some kind of acquired mighty body. His background is definitely not simple. Linger, this kid is definitely a formidable opponent for you. Glancing at Chao Ling beside him, Chao Chuanwu stroked his long beard and said meaningfully, in his opinion, Fei Ren's cultivation was only at the 8th level of the Star Realm, but he had the combat strength of a first-level martial master. Not only was his talent extraordinary, but his background was also not simple. It was impossible for him to be a rogue cultivator. I wonder where the Lin family found this kid. In the arena, Lu Xuanyu's expression gradually turned serious. The next moment, his origin energy aura increased several times and was comparable to a first-level martial master. He originally wanted to kill Fei Ren in one move, but it seemed that he had underestimated his opponent. Judging from the strength that Fei Ren had displayed, he was far stronger than Lin Shuai and the others. He was not weaker than any first-level martial master. Moreover, the golden crimson light surrounding Fei Ren was very powerful. It was invincible. If Lu Xuanyu could not break this layer of defense, he had no chance of winning at all. Kid, I underestimated you. Compared to you, Lin Shuai and Lin Xiushui are just trash. Waves of brownish-yellow halos appeared around Lu Xuanyu as well, forming a protective wall of elemental energy. The next moment, Lu Xuanyu spoke in a deep voice, looking at Fei Ren with fear in his eyes. Like his opponent, he was also good at defense. However, he had only comprehended the earth concept, while the golden crimson light around Fei Ren did not belong to any concept. What's wrong? Could it be that you're afraid? Seeing Lu Xuanyu's change in attitude, Fei Ren smirked and revealed a mocking smile. Provocation had always worked well on him, and it was naturally effective on Lu Xuanyu, the arrogant and despotic young master of the Lu family. *T. As expected, Lu Xuanyu's face turned red, and he flew into a rage at Fei Ren's provocation. The last bit of rationality that he had managed to summon was devoured by anger again. Subduing dragon space, shattering strike. Lu Xuanyu yelled. The next moment, wisps of majestic origin energy appeared in his palm. The majestic origin energy was mixed with violent inner strength. It flickered like a black and white dragon and instantly shot toward Fei Ren on the other side of the arena. This was his unique skill. Only the direct descendants of the Lu family could cultivate it. Its power was comparable to a 6th-grade martial arts technique. Kid, you're dead meat. Lu Xuanyu's face turned crazy as endless killing intent surged in his heart. In his opinion, no matter how strong Fei Ren's defense was, he would never be able to withstand his crouching dragon space shattering strike. Even Chao Ling of the Chao family did not dare to take this move head-on. Moreover, once the inner strength of the crouching dragon space shattering strike entered his body, no matter how monstrous Fei Ren was, his meridians and dantian would be torn apart by the violent inner strength, and he would become a cripple. Bam! 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 The black and white dragon streaked across the sky like a meteor and instantly smashed onto Fei Ren's body. The next moment it exploded. That kid is dead. Seeing this, the spectators had different expressions on their faces. They were all shocked. Crack! However, the crisp sound of glass shattering was suddenly heard. Fei Ren's body was still standing on the spot. He had only taken a few steps back. At the same time, the crimson light on his body was still flickering. The golden light on his left shoulder and abdomen had dimmed and shattered. It seemed that he had blocked Lu Xuanyu's strongest attack. How was this possible? How did he block it? Not only Lu Xuanyu, but everyone else was also dumbfounded. Dharma Fist. With a roar, Fei Ren's body disappeared from the spot. At the same time, he punched out. The golden fist energy swept out and landed heavily on Lu Xuanyu's chest. Uffed. Lu Xuanyu felt as if his chest had been hit by a heavy hammer and his bones were broken. The next moment, he spat out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, he retreated like a kite with a broken string until he fell off the stage. His face was extremely pale. How was this possible? Struggling to get up, Lu Xuanyu looked at Fei Ren in horror. Before he could finish his sentence, he screamed again and knelt on the ground in pain. At the same time, he held his head tightly with both hands, and his face was distorted. Just as he was looking straight into Lu Xuanyu's eyes, an invisible spiritual attack suddenly crashed into the depths of his mind. It was like a sharp blade that ruthlessly tore apart his intelligence and consciousness. Lu Xuanyu also felt extreme pain and could not support himself to stand. Mental martial technique? Seeing Lu Xuanyu's miserable condition, Song Ke, the elder of the Purple Spirit sect, was also surprised. He didn't expect that Fei Run, who was on the stage, had mastered the rare martial arts of the Spirit series. I didn't expect this guy's mental strength to be so powerful. After all, in order to execute a spirit attribute martial art, the requirement for a martial artist's own spirit energy attainments was not low. Lu Shantong, who was not far away, was shocked when he saw Lu Xuanyu vomiting blood and leaving the stage. He leaped into the air and rushed over. "Damn you, little bastard. How could you be so vicious? You deserve to die." When Lu Shantong used his Yuanli to check Lu Xuanyu, he flew into a rage. His veins bulged, and his eyes were full of hatred and killing intent as he looked at Fei Run. Lu Xuanyu's injuries were not light. Not only were more than a dozen bones in his chest broken, but his body was also covered with bloodstains. Even if he was treated with elixirs, he would need at least a few months to recover. Moreover, it might affect his martial arts foundation in the future. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.